A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Sound out for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A suspect has been apprehended. You have a positive identification from the victim. Your job, investigate.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 3rd. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:46 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Joe?
Yeah?
You're early.
Yeah. I got to run over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
What's the matter?
I don't know, Frank. I started to get headaches last night. I couldn't sleep. Ringing in my ears. I don't know what it is.
Now, hold on. Stay right there.
What?
Got up my locker. I'll get it for you.
What are you talking about?
The headaches get worse when you move.
What?
When you move around, it gets worse, right?
Yeah?
Feels like your head's going to blow up?
Yeah.
Huh? Glad you came to me. I know just what it is. Got stuff right up here. Someplace. Yeah, here it is. There you are, Joe. Take 2. Fix you right up.
What is it?
Salt.
Salt?
Salt. That's your trouble. You don't get enough salt. Same thing happened to me last summer. Ever since then, I always keep a bottle of salt tablets right in my locker. Always ready. Take 2. Fix you right up.
Well, I don't know. You got a penny?
What for, a cup? Oh, wait a minute, Joe. You're not going to drink that water anymore.
No?
Just a minute. Bought a whole case of this for us. There you are, boy. Drink it right out of the bottle.
What is it?
Poland water, Joe. 100% pure. Right from the springs. Real water.
Yeah?
Yep. Read right there on the bottle, see? Not carbonated. Full of minerals and good things.
Yeah, well, Frank, maybe I ought to wait and see the doctor, huh?
Joe, believe me, I know what's wrong. It's happened to me. Same thing. Salt, that's what you need.
Yeah.
Well, there you are. Poland water and the pills fix you right up. There you are. Go ahead.
Oh, look, I appreciate all this, really I do, but I think I ought to see the doctor, huh?
Joe, don't you trust me?
Well, yeah.
Take the pills.
Salt.
Salt, take them.
All right.
There now, that wasn't bad, was it? If the headaches don't go away, we can drop by Georgia Street and see the doc. Well, you want to give me the bottle? I'll put the cap back on. Keep it fresh for
all right. Anything in the box?
Yeah, an arrest report. We're supposed to check the guy out.
Anything on it?
Held up a grocery store at the corner of 7th and Francis a week ago yesterday.
When'd they pick him up?
Last night. Victim saw him on the street and called a radio car, took him into custody, and then booked him.
Well, let's go talk to him. I'll see what he's got to say.
After we get through, we can drop by the hospital if he's still got the headaches. This shouldn't take too long.
Well?
Sure, guy's already confessed.
We ran the name of the suspect, Thomas Stanford, through R&I, but we found no previous criminal record for anyone of his description. 8:10 a.m. We drove over to the main jail. We went up to the second floor and signed in. Stanford was brought from his cell, and Frank and I took him to one of the interview rooms. We gave him a cigarette, and he started to talk. He was quiet and cooperative.
Yeah, I did the robbery a week ago yesterday.
I'd like to check some things out here on the arrest report.
Sure, I want to get this over with. I did it like I told you. Nothing special. Just held up the store.
Mm-hmm. Your full name is Thomas Arthur Stanford, is that right?
Yeah, Thomas Arthur. My friends call me Tom.
Uh-huh. Your home address is 1824 South Mariposa Avenue?
Yeah, I live with my father, 1824 South Mariposa Avenue, LA7.
What's your father's name?
Arthur, same as my middle name. I was named after him.
You employed?
Not regular.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't have a regular job like in a factory or a store. I'm a gardener. I work for different people.
You give us a list of the people you work for?
Well, sure, if you gotta have.
It's just routine.
Oh. Yeah, I'll give them to you.
You want to tell us how you committed the robbery?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Isn't much to tell, though. It's pretty simple. I went in and held the place up, took the money. That's about all there is to it.
Were you armed when you went into that grocery store?
Yeah. Yeah, I had a gun.
What kind of a gun?
.32 automatic. Had 8 bullets in it.
Where's the gun now?
Threw it away.
Where?
In one of the ponds up in Ferndale.
You mean up in Griffith Park?
Yeah, just a little up the canyon there.
You want to show us where it is?
Sure.
All right. If you start right at the beginning, tell us all about the robbery, what you did.
Well, why do you have to know all that? I told you I did it. There's nothing more you have to know.
We got to have it for the record. It's just routine, like I told you.
You guys do a lot of things that's routine, don't you?
Yeah, we do, quite a bit.
Was there anybody in the store when you went in?
Just the woman that owned the place. I guess she owned it. The way she carried on, you'd have thought it was her own money I was taking. Well, I took out the gun, and I told her it was a stick-up. I said for her not to cause any trouble.
What'd she say to that?
Well, that's when she got hacked at me, started to yell.
What'd you do?
Well, I guess she figured I meant what I said when I told her to shut up. Anyway, she quieted down, then I told her to get into the back room. They got this little room where they keep the empty Coke and the beer bottles. I told her to get in there.
Did she?
Yeah, she went into the room, and I locked the door from the outside. And I went to the cash register and punched the no-sale button and took the money. After that, I left the store.
You didn't have the money on you when they picked you up last night. Where is it?
It's gone. I spent it.
You spent it all?
Yeah, every last nickel. I had myself a ball.
You remember where you spent it?
All around, different places. I bought myself some clothes, spent some of it in clubs. Just went. None of it left.
You drive a car, Stanford?
Yeah. Isn't mine, though. It belongs to my father. It's a big Chrysler sedan.
Did you drive that when you held up the grocery store?
Yeah, I had it parked down the street on 7th.
Mm-hmm. Remember the time when you went into the store?
Yeah. It was just after 12 noon.
What were you doing in the neighborhood last night?
You mean when they picked me up?
That's right.
Just looking around.
You ever been arrested before?
No. Never been mixed up with a cop.
You ever been to the hospital? Mental institution?
What do you ask a question like that for?
Routine.
Oh. Well, when I was a kid, I had my tonsils out. I was in a hospital then. A couple of days. I don't remember it too well. It was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. How old are you, Stanford?
28. All these questions you're asking me. I told the 2 cops that picked me up the same things. Why you got to ask them again? Can't you just send me to the penitentiary and get it over with?
Got to double-check the story, Stanford.
I suppose so. Just seems that you're going to a lot of trouble you don't have to. I told you I did it. I'm not giving you any trouble. I confess.
No.
My father know about this yet?
Yeah, he was called.
He's going to be pretty sore about it.
All right.
Sure he doesn't know I used his car.
"9:15 a.m. We checked the suspect out of the main jail and took him over to the store that had been robbed. While Frank waited in the car, I went in and talked to the victim, a Mrs. Alice Kenwood. I told her that we'd bring the suspect into the store and ask him several questions about the robbery. During that time, I told her that we wanted her to observe the suspect so that she could give us a positive identification. I told her that it would be better if she didn't talk to him, and that if she had any questions, she could ask them through us. She agreed and said that she would do anything she could to help us in the investigation. I went out to the car, and Frank and I brought the suspect into the store.
Come on back here, Stanford.
What are you bringing me here for? What are you trying to prove?
I'd like to have you explain a few things for us.
Well, I told you all I could. I told you I committed the robbery. Isn't that enough?
Just a couple of things we'd like to have you clear up for us.
Well, what things? I told you how I did it. Well, she'll tell you. That's the woman I held up. She'll tell you it was me. She should know. She's the one who turned me in.
How about it, Miss Kenwood?
He's the one, all right. I'd know him any place.
There, isn't that enough? What more do you want?
I'd like to have you show us just how you came into the store, what you did while you were in here.
You mean the whole thing?
Yeah, from the time he came in through the door.
All right. Take these handcuffs off and I'll show you.
You can show us with them on.
It's got to be that way. It's going to make it tougher.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I came in the door. I came in and she was standing behind that counter.
You mean Miss Kenwood?
Yeah, her. She was standing behind the counter. I walked over to her. I showed her the gun. Told her it was a stick-up. Told her I wanted the money.
That's right. He pointed the gun at me. I thought he was going to shoot.
All right, go ahead, Stanford.
Well, she started to yell, told me to get out of the store.
Certainly I yelled at him. You think I want anybody coming in here and waving a gun around? Oh, if my husband was here, he'd show you good.
See what I mean? I never saw a woman that could yell so much.
Go ahead, Stanford. What'd you do then?
Well, I told her if she didn't keep quiet, I'd have to shoot her, and then I told her to get in the room
Now,
and back.
just hold on a minute. He's not only a thief, but he's a liar, too.
Ma'am?
That's not what he did at all.
What do you mean, Mrs. Kenwood?
He didn't tell me to get into the back room. There ain't any back room.
How about that, Stanford?
You're going to listen to her? I'm the one that robbed the place. She didn't. I guess I know what I did.
All right, let's take a look back here. Come on. What's behind this curtain here, Miss Kenwood?
Just a little space where I keep my empty bottles. Goes right out onto the alley.
Yeah, see, that's where I put her. That's where I told her to stay.
Mm-hmm. And you said you locked the door. There's no door there.
I got confused. It doesn't make any difference. I told her to get back there and stay there until I was out of the store.
That's a lie. You did no such thing. You told me to get down on the floor and cover my face. Then you went over to the cash register and you took the money. I didn't move. Didn't want to give you any trouble the way you were waving that gun around. It's a wonder you didn't try to kill me.
The way you're yakking it up, I should have done it.
All right, that's enough. Frank?
Yeah.
You want to take Stanford out to the car? I'll be right with you.
Yeah, okay. Come on, Stanford, let's go.
You know what you got to go through all this for. I told you I did, and I never saw anything like it before. You can't even confess around here. Nobody believes it.
Miss Kenwood?
Yes, officer.
Are you sure that's the man that held you up here?
I said it before. I'm positive. There isn't any doubt in my mind.
Uh-huh. Now, you heard what he said, how he said he robbed you. Is that the way it happened?
Well, everything was the same except where he said that he put me in back there. That wasn't true. He made me lie down on the floor right there. Told me to stay still for 5 minutes, not to move. Said that if I caused any trouble, he'd come back and shoot me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's crazy. Anybody would wave a gun around like that. It's terrible. I wish my husband was here. He'd show that snip. He's in the Army, you know, my husband.
Yes, ma'am.
Awful thing. Him overseas getting shot at and young punks like that roaming around the streets with guns, threatening people. It's a terrible thing.
Now, this is pretty important, ma'am. I want to ask you once more. You're sure that's the man who held you up?
How many times do I have to say it? I've told you that it is. He admits it himself. What more do you need?
Well, I don't know, ma'am. There's just something here that isn't right about the whole thing.
Doesn't make any difference. He's the man. There's no mistake about that. Oh, you just let me know when you want me in court. I'll be there. I want to see him get what's coming to him, every bit of it.
Yes, ma'am. So do we, if he's the right man. 12:22 p.m. We drove the suspect back to the city hall for further questioning. Frank took him to the interrogation room, and I checked into the squad room.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir?
Sergeant Friday?
Yes, sir. Something I can do for you?
I'm Arthur Stanford, Tom's father.
Oh, yes, sir.
I understand my son is here. Is that right?
Yes, sir. He's here.
Wonder if I could see him, talk to him.
Yes, sir. I think that can be arranged.
Has he told you why he did it? Has he?
Well, he's given us some reasons, sir. None of them are very good.
I can't understand it. Just isn't any reason for him to do a thing like this. No reason at all that I can see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do, Mr. Friday. I left the house this morning, and all the people in the neighborhood knew about it. They all knew. I walked down the street, and they turned away from me. I could see them watch me through the windows of their houses. I could tell what they were thinking. My son's a thief. Common thief. And in my heart, I know it's true. I don't know what to do about it, Mr. Friday. Can you tell me?
No, sir. I'm afraid I can't.
Well, maybe he can. May I see him?
Yes, sir. He's across the hall. This way. Right over here, sir.
I wonder if I could have a cigarette?
Yes, sir. Here you are. Here's a match.
Thank you. I'm not sure what I'm going to say to him when I see him. Wish I had some time to think.
Well, you don't have to go in now if you don't want to, sir.
Oh, it wouldn't help any to put it off. Won't get any easier with time. I might as well get it over with.
All right, sir.
Hi, Pop.
Why'd you do it, son?
Well, I did it because I wanted to. I wanted the money. I didn't know any other reason you robbed somebody. I wanted the money, so I did it.
You could have come to me. I'd have tried to get the money for you. You know I'd have tried.
Where'd you get it? Where'd you get that kind of money? All your life you've been grubbing for pennies. I don't want small money. I want to be rich. I will be, too.
All right, take it easy, Stanford.
It's all right, Mr. Friday. I understand.
All my life you've been saying you understand. I'm getting sick of it. As long as I can remember, you've been telling me to get out and do something on my own. Well, I finally did it. Now you aren't happy with it.
You expect me to throw my head up in the air because you're a thief?
Oh, knock it off. I'm tired of you giving me lectures all the time. Yakety yak. Never stop.
That's enough of that, don't you think, Stanford?
Well, you keep out of this, cop. This is a family matter. It doesn't concern you. This is between my father and me.
Well, tell me why. That's all I want. Why? Tell me so I can face the neighbors, so I can tell them you had a reason.
Tell them your son's a bum.
Well, they know that already, but that's not a reason to steal.
It's good enough for me. They're not going to listen to you anyway. They already made up their minds about me. They did that a long time ago.
Come on, Stanford. Let's go back to jail.
Sure. Anything else here to do? He never understood. He never did. Let's go.
One thing I'd like to ask first.
What's that?
You're going to jail for a long time. I have to live while you're gone.
It's your worry.
And it always has been. I want to know what you did with the gardening tools. I like to have them to get alone.
I don't know. I left them someplace.
You remember where? Think. I need those tools.
I'm not sure. Maybe at Mrs. Howard's. Maybe that's where I left.
Over on 12th?
Yeah, I did her place last Wednesday. I guess I forgot to pick stuff up when I left. It must still be there.
And I'll go over and get them.
Wait a minute.
What do you want?
You said you did some gardening for this Mrs. Howard last Wednesday. That'd be a week ago yesterday, is that right?
That's what I said.
You remember what time you were there?
Most of the day. I got there about 10 in the morning. Left about 4 in the afternoon. I was in a hurry to get away. That's why I forgot the tools, I guess.
You leave the place at all during the day?
Not till I finished. What are you trying to prove with all these questions?
It's about the robbery, Stanford.
Yeah?
If you were at this Howard woman's house, how could you held up the grocery store?
Don't make no difference how I did it. I don't have to explain it to you.
No, you're wrong about that, Stanford.
Is that right?
Too many things here don't add up. The way you confessed, the difference in your story about the robbery. Now, this thing about you being at the Howard house. I don't know why you're lying about this, Stanford.
Yeah?
But we're going to find out.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield is best for you. Listen to Chesterfield's record.
For a full year and 2 months, a doctor has been making regular examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers, and he reports no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield. First choice with Young America. And that's from a survey of 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Remember, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
We continued to talk to the suspect, Thomas Stanford, for another hour. He refused to say anything about the conflicting aspects of his story. His father pleaded with him to tell us the truth, but other than admitting he was responsible for the grocery store robbery, he'd say nothing. We got the address of the house where Stanford had said he'd left the gardening tools. 3:15 p.m. After taking the suspect back to the main jail, Frank and I drove out to talk to the Howard woman.
Place sure looks nice. Well kept.
Yeah.
Look at those carnations, Joe. Never seen anything so pretty?
Yeah, they're very nice.
You know, Faye tries them all the time. Never seems to have any luck with them, though. Plants come up all right, but the flowers just don't seem to get very big.
Mm-hmm.
About size of $50. Little bitty things.
Yeah.
Sure smell good, though.
I get the bill.
Yes?
Miss Howard?
That's right. Is there something you want?
Police officers, ma'am. We'd like to talk to you.
Policeman? What do you want to see me for?
Well, it's about a man who did some work for you, Thomas Stanford.
Oh. Yes, come in, Wiltshire.
Thank you very much. My name's Friday, Mrs. Howard. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Well, how do you do?
How you doing, man?
Just sit down there. I'm having a late lunch. Can I get you anything?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Sure you wouldn't have a glass of iced tea or something like that?
No, thanks, Miss Howard. How about this man, Stanford?
Oh, yes, Tom. He's a good gardener. Does a beautiful job on the place. You should take a walk around the grounds. He keeps it just beautifully.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us when he was here last?
Oh, well, I'd have to think about that. Let's see. Well, I think it was a week ago yesterday. Yes, that's right, last Wednesday. He comes once a week. He should have been here yesterday. Called his house when he didn't show up. No answer. Probably forgot. He's very forgetful, you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yes. But take the last time he was here. He walked off and forgot all of his tools. Lawnmower, clippers, everything. Had to take it back to the garage. Just left it on the lawn right out in the front of the place.
Mm-hmm. You ever had any trouble with him?
What do you mean by trouble?
Well, any arguments, disagreements?
Well, on a couple of occasions, we've had words about what flowers to put in. He's wanted to plant one thing, I've wanted something else. They've never been serious, though.
Yes, ma'am.
I suppose I shouldn't say this.
What's that, Miss Howard?
Well, frankly, I've never thought that Tom was real bright. He seemed sort of backwards.
How do you mean, backward?
Well, when it came to thinking out something for himself, he just couldn't handle it. If you told him to do a thing a certain way, he'd do it, never vary from the way you told him.
Mm-hmm.
You'd ask him to figure something out, and he was dead. Seemed like the motor was turning over all right, but he just couldn't get the clutch out. Gears just wouldn't work.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why I say I don't think he's very bright. He just can't seem to think for himself. No initiative.
Do you remember what time he was here on Wednesday?
Well, now, let's see. He got here about 10 in the morning. It was right after that radio show about the Friends. I'd just finished listening to that when he got here. That goes off the air at 10. Have you ever heard it?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you should listen sometime. These people tell why they need a friend to help them out of trouble. Well, I listen to it every morning. It makes me feel pretty lucky, those poor people. I sure appreciate what I've got when I hear what they have to say.
Uh-huh. Was Stanford here all day, ma'am?
Yes, all day. He didn't leave until, let's see. Well, I guess it was about 5, someplace around in there. It seems to me it was just before the 5 o'clock news, just before that when he left.
You say he got here at 10, and then he left just before 5 o'clock, is that right?
That's right.
Any chance that he might have been away without you knowing it?
No, I'd have known it if he had. He was out in the backyard most of the morning, and then he took care of the front later in the day.
Well, what's he do about lunch, Miss Howard?
What do you mean?
Well, does he bring his lunch with him?
Once in a while he does, yes. Well, he didn't on Wednesday, though. I'm sure about that.
How do you mean, Mrs. Howard?
Well, along about lunchtime. It was right after the noon news. I made up a little plate for him. A couple of sandwiches, potato chips, and some pickles. Little tiny sweet gherkins. I made it up and I took it out to him.
Yes, ma'am.
I took this nice plate out to him, and where do you suppose I found him?
Where?
Out by in the garage, sitting next to the compost box. What do you suppose he was doing?
Well, what, ma'am?
Reading a comic book. All about cops and robbers. One of those with a picture on the cover of the crooks trying to shoot their way out of the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I told him that he'd better get on the ball, let the clutch out, and get to work. I told him that I wanted the yard finished up by 5, and that I didn't want any funny business about it.
What did he say to that?
Well, he just looked at me for a long time, and then he said, "Okay, Warden." Just like that. "Okay, Warden." But he got to work right away, and he finished up on time. You see, my son and daughter-in-law were coming over. It was his birthday, and we'd planned a little party. I wanted the place to be nice for them.
Yes, ma'am, we understand. Is it possible that Stanford could have gotten away from the yard at all between 10 and 5?
No, I'm sure of that. He was here all the time.
All right, ma'am. Thank you very much.
What's this all about? Is Tom in some sort of trouble?
No, it's just a routine investigation, Miss Howard. I'm going to give you our card in case you think of anything else. Here you are.
Oh, thank you. Michigan 5211, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Ask for Robbery Division. That's extension 2511. It's right on the card.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Poor Tom, all this trouble. It's too bad.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wish this was New York.
Beg your pardon?
Well, if this was New York, everything would be all right.
How's that?
That program about the Friends?
Yes, ma'am.
Tom could sure use one.
We left Mrs. Howard's home and talked to some of the people in the neighborhood. They told us that the Howards were respected people in the community, and some of them verified the fact that Stanford had worked for almost 2 years. The man who lived directly across the street from the Howard house said that he'd talked with Stanford on the afternoon of the robbery. He said that he'd asked the suspect about the seeds that he used to raise the carnations that were planted along the front of the house. He went on to say that he'd been working in the front yard of his own house all afternoon and that he'd seen the suspect throughout that time. We drove back to the grocery store and talked with the victim, Mrs. Kenwood. Under questioning, she admitted that she could have made a mistake about the identification, but she said that if she was wrong, the thief could act as a double for Tom Stanford. 10:30 p.m. We drove back to the main jail and picked up the suspect. We took him back to the city hall and talked to him in the interrogation room. He was sullen and refused to answer our questions.
Stanford?
Yeah?
I'd like to have you tell us the truth this time.
I told you it isn't my fault. If you don't believe me, it isn't my fault.
Now, look, Stanford, we talked with this Mrs. Howard. She told us that you were working for her all day a week ago Wednesday.
So what's that prove?
Well, you admit it's true then, huh?
Sure, it's true. I was working for her.
Then how could you have gotten to the grocery store and held it up? Stanford?
I did it. I haven't got anything more to say. I did the robbery. Smith, you get tonight's papers?
Yeah, I picked them up earlier.
Anything in them about me?
I didn't see anything.
There must have been something. Some story about me with my name.
Well, if there was, I didn't see it.
Well, maybe it didn't look good.
Maybe.
There's got to be something, a picture or something.
No.
Well, let me look.
Where'd you leave the papers, Frank?
It's quite a...
Would you get them and let me look?
Sure.
pretty important to you that you're in the papers, isn't it?
I just want to see him, that's all.
Well, he'll bring him back.
He must have made a mistake. There's something about me. There's got to be. It isn't every day there's a robbery like this. The papers would write it up big, wouldn't they?
I don't know.
I'm sure they would. There was a story when the place was robbed, told all about how it was done. It was just a little story, but now they've got me. It seems you should have a picture.
Here it is.
Let me see. Nothing on the first page.
Robbery happened a week ago. It's old news.
Yeah, but you just caught me last night. Nothing. Not one lousy word. Nothing at all.
That makes a difference, doesn't it?
Sure it does. Sure. If there isn't anything in the papers, how are people going to know I did it? How are they going to know?
They won't.
But they gotta. They gotta. Don't you see that? If they don't know that I did the robbery, there ain't no reason for it. No reason at all.
What do you mean, Stafford?
Well, there won't be no pictures, no nothing. People still think I'm nobody. No one's going to know that I did do something. No one will know.
Well, the way it looks to us, you didn't do it.
There should be a story about it, about how I confessed. Maybe not a picture, but at least a story, something.
You didn't do it, did you? Stanford? Come on. You didn't hold up that story, did you?
No. No, I didn't. I thought I could get away with it. I thought that if I confessed, you'd put me in jail and people would look at me different. And they wouldn't laugh at me anymore because I'd done something. Mm-hmm. Poor dumb Tom. That's what they say, poor dumb Tom. Just once I wanted to show him that I could do something.
You ready to go?
Back to the jail?
That's right.
You think we could stop on the way over? I'd like to pick up something.
Yeah, what's that?
Other papers. Might be something in them.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 4th, a meeting was held in the District Attorney's Office, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that meeting.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I'd like to talk to you people who don't smoke Chesterfields. I'm convinced that if you try just one carton, you'll find they're best for you. They're milder, they have a wonderful taste, and most important, they have premium quality in both sizes, regular or king size. So pick up that carton, will you? Chesterfields. Try them.
A 5.10 report was filed on Thomas Arthur Stanford, and he was released from custody. 10 months later, on May 22nd, James R. Rogers was apprehended while attempting to hold up a liquor store at the corner of 3rd and Temple Streets. While being interrogated, he confessed to committing the robbery that Stanford had been accused of. The physical appearance of the two men was almost identical. Rogers was tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree and received sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Virginia Gregg, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield.
Tonight it's Adventure with Barry Craig on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye. Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's transcribed story. She's lovely, she's engaged, she eats soybeans. This one revolved around a beauty. The kind that drives some men mad, some to murder. Her name, last week, was Miss Fireworks on the 4th. But she didn't have to worry about catching on fire. Everything was insured. But there was somebody that didn't like her in a bathing suit, and a big guy that shot skeet and never missed. But once. I got a call from my boss, the Lion, last Wednesday morning before breakfast. Said he had to see me right away. When I got down to the Detective Bureau, the Lion was chewing slowly and holding a
picture, Jeffrey. A photograph, to be exact.
Chewing your cud, Lion?
Wheat kernels, Jeffrey. Sunny fruit of Mother Earth. I saved some for your breakfast.
Where's the marmalade?
Don't scoff, my boy. These golden grains of patented wheat.
Who's got a patent on wheat?
It's Steve Albright. And this isn't just any wheat. It's grown only in a sun-splashed acre of alluvial soil, watered by a gushing spring of, have a kernel, Jeffrey.
Thanks.
It's the new miracle health food, my boy. If you're heavy, it slims you. If you're lean, it builds you up. And you need only 10 kernels a day. Here, have another.
The picture, Fatso.
Yes, the picture. Well, look what the wheat has done for this girl, Jeffrey.
Wrong side up.
Huh? Oh, yes.
Ah, bathing beauty.
Yeah, professional, my boy. He travels around the country doing
this.
Yes. Yeah, but there's trouble afoot, Jeffrey. This lovely girl is in some sort of danger.
What kind?
That's your job, my boy. You must find out. Our retainer of $150 says you do.
Who's Steve Albright?
Her manager. He left me these pictures of the girl, and when I asked how she managed to keep her figure...
He produced a sack of wheat and said, chew slowly.
Something like that.
What's the girl's name?
Name? I guess I forgot to ask.
You're right. Doesn't make any matter. Where do I find the Steve Albright?
Yeah, I have the address right here.
Oh, you're improving.
Here it is. Now, give me back my picture and get right out there. Mr. Albright said this girl is a very valuable property.
Some photographs lie, but these told the truth. About soft hair flowing down to the waist. A fluted figure, tight in a two-piece bathing suit. If you look real close for it. Now, who'd want to get a girl like this into trouble? But somebody did. It was afternoon before I could contact Albright. His office was in a small white stucco building back of the Sunset Strip. No elevators. The directory said Steve Albright, Massive Enterprises Incorporated, Suite 3. I found it. The door said enter. I entered.
Regan, excellent.
The office was one room, a desk, and...
Steve Albright is my name. Perfect. Glad you got here so soon. Excellent.
Glad to know you. Wonderful.
You're thinking this is a small office, that Massive Enterprises is broke. I ask you to examine the books, Mr. Regan.
You've paid us.
Somewhere in this drawer. Oh, here they are. Excellent.
Where's the girl?
We'll come to her, fine.
Grand.
The books. You see? I go back to 1948. That's when I found her.
What do you call her?
Actual name, Jerry Shoulder. Marvelous. But no one knows her by that name. As you can see in the books, Mr. Regan, it's always something like Miss Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Chicago, $1,436.56.
2 days' work. Pictures, endorsements, radio shots.
Mm-hmm. Good money for 2 days' work.
Jerry was Miss Coal Tar Derivatives for the Duplan Manufacturing Empire.
$2,769.84.
In 3 days. Marvelous. Of course, the flower festivals and all have a bathing beauty contest, but they find it's much simpler and more advantageous to have a professional win. She knows how to pose, she knows what to say and do, and, of course, she's more beautiful.
Makes sense. You say she's in trouble.
We did very well in Kansas City as Miss Ground Round for the butchers.
I want to know about now.
Well, since we've been here, Mr. Regan, there have been innuendos, threats against her life.
Why?
I don't know. Well, here, you can see from a picture.
You left pictures of her with Lion. I'm convinced.
I mean, Mr. Regan, it's seldom that a girl comes along who has all... delightful. I mean, it's insured.
Insurance is a wonderful business.
Yeah, $100,000 overall. And Lloyd's of London will pay $10,000 if she injures those legs of hers.
Mm-hmm. You want me to act as her bodyguard, eh?
Precisely, Grand.
Delightful.
That is, if you feel you can resist her. You see, Mr. Regan, her value as a professional bathing beauty is ruined if she gets mixed up with men. Marries.
Uh-huh. You, got a policy on that, too?
$50,000.
I promise I won't marry the girl.
Your big job is to keep men away from her.
What man? His name?
Banyan. He's tall, good-looking.
Yeah, I know him. Cheap rackets here.
Oh, excellent. Then we can do business.
Just curiosity, all right, but what about the golden grains of patented wheat?
Oh, that's just a sideline of our enterprise, Mr. Regan. Women wonder how Jerry Shoulder managed to keep what you see in this photograph, so we started a little health food business on the side.
Yeah, another thing, if something happens to Jerry Shoulder, who gets the insurance money?
Massive Enterprises.
Which is?
Me.
I checked the insurance policies. They seemed genuine. I asked where I could find Jerry Shoulder and was told the beauty parlor. Where else? And that's where I headed, only instead of a parlor, it was a beauty salon. The doors were plate glass, the doorman, an electric eye. The plate glass swung out. I swung in. I sank into the deep rug like it was something alive. The place was wired for music. There were flowers and a statue of Aphrodite, life-size, standing in the fountain. The official greeter was Trey Chick in ascot tie and cutaway pants.
What's it to you, Mac?
He said, noticing my glance.
You maybe want your hair done?
If you don't mind my asking, why are you working here?
The slick dames gotta get their kicks. I remind them of Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, now, Humph, could you tell me...
My name is Mungo.
Who was that?
Just a dame getting beautiful. You was asking?
Looking for a girl named Jerry Shoulder.
All right, wise guy. In here. Mr. Banyan will want to talk to you.
The big guy rammed his shoulder into my stomach, then grabbed my arm and twisted it behind my back. He opened a door and shoved me into a room. He locked the door from the outside. There was another door, and it was locked, too. I looked around the room. It was like a medieval torture chamber. Weird racks and iron maidens connected to steam pipes. Metal rollers, headless horses. All to change nature's idea of what a woman should look like. I tried the door again. This time it opened. Only someone was coming in. She was young. She was lovely. She wore a bathing suit. Tall, deeply tanned brunette. Moving easily toward me on calendar legs.
You want to see me?
There's more?
I'm Jerry Shoulder.
I thought maybe.
I don't get to meet men. I'm sorry you caught me looking like this.
It's all right.
You see, I just had my hair done and had to wrap it in a towel.
Oh, yeah.
Mungo tried to keep me out of here, but I persuaded him to let me come in. You wanted me for something?
I'm your new bodyguard, lady.
He's starting that again.
Doesn't want you to get into trouble.
Oh, you wouldn't let anything happen to me, would you, Mr.
Regan?
Oh, Mr. Regan, the Lion's Eye. Oh, I've heard of you. I've heard you're very good.
On some things.
Well, you mustn't pay too much attention to my manager.
Your
Mr.
manager
Regan.
says you've been threatened.
Oh, there must be some mistake. I've never been threatened in my life. Oh, pardon me while I climb up on my horse.
Huh? Oh.
There.
Yeah.
No, don't leave, Mr. Regan. Stay right here. Time for my exercise.
Do you have any idea who might want to do you bodily harm?
I just love exercise, Mr. Regan.
Yeah, sure. Could it be a man named Banyan?
Mr. Regan, you've got to help me get out of this place.
You man, come here.
There was a woman standing in the doorway. There was a gun in her hand.
I know how to use this. Get away from her.
She motioned me toward the door. I obliged. Then we were in the hall, and I noticed the woman was holding the gun awkwardly. The safety was on.
You men are all alike.
Yeah, they saw me. Now, give me the gun.
You stay away from Jerry.
The gun.
I'll just put it back in my purse, but you stay away from Jerry now.
The woman dropped the gun into her purse. She wore a plain, hugging jersey dress. Gray hair in a bun at the back of her head. The kind of a woman you see in bars. Late. Alone.
We've got to keep men away from Jerry. I'm sorry if I frightened you.
Don't tell me you're a private eye.
No. I'm Martha, Jerry's wardrobe mistress. I keep her bathing suits in cool, dry places. They're latex, you know.
Do you know a man named Albright?
Well, sure, that's Jerry's manager. He's the one that told me to protect Jerry, keep the men away.
Well, then why didn't you do it? The way she came walking in, anybody could have got to her.
I was busy for a moment in the back, looking for a cool, dry place.
Did Jerry know a small-time racketeer named Banyan?
Well, if she does, I don't know about it. And I'm with her constantly.
Yeah, like today.
Oh, I'll bet you're Jeff Regan.
Yeah, so Albright told you I was on the case.
He
huh?
tells me everything, Mr. Regan.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe he can tell you why Jerry didn't follow us out into the hall.
It does seem strange.
We better take a look in that room. Jerry's shoulder was gone, out the other door. But we still had a catch. Standing in the middle of the 17th century chamber of mechanical horrors was a 20th century mess. The ape in ascot tie and pearl buttons, only now his clothes were torn, his face scratched and bleeding. All right, where's the girl?
I was only trying to help.
Wake up, will you? Where is she?
Mr. Banyan, he said...
Banyan again.
Keep her safe from guys.
Snap out of it, will you?
I couldn't hit his girl. I tried to hold her. She hit me and scratched
Is she still
me.
in the building?
She even screamed at me, but I couldn't hit his girl.
Banyan, sure. And I know where to find him. Banyan operated out of the 7 Club. But when I checked, he wasn't there. I finally caught up with him outside of town, in a spot hidden from the highway. A country club. A gambling joint that featured bare-knuckle bouts, cockfighting, and now, Banyan, with a shotgun in his hands, shooting skeet. Pull!
Dead duck. Nice shooting, Banyan.
Talking to yourself, Banyan?
Huh? Oh, Regan.
Shooting clay pigeons a little out of your line, isn't it, Banyan?
Clay pigeons? You never know which way they'll fly. Sharpens the eye. Pull. Yeah. Makes it easy when you're trying for a larger target.
Nice spot you got here.
Doesn't belong to me if that's what you're after.
No. The way I read it, brand new beauty parlor belongs to you. Likewise, a guy named Mungo. That's your new front.
Regan, it's a salon.
Oh, yeah, I thought. What I'm after, Banyan, is a girl named Jerry Shoulder.
Never heard of her.
Beautiful, isn't she?
Very.
Look, I'm playing for keeps.
Oh? You won't mind if I just slip a few more shells into my shotgun.
Just remember, I don't scare.
Oh, I'd almost forgotten.
Open up, Banyan. Jerry Shoulder.
You know what my enemies are saying, Regan? That Jerry Shoulder's as good as dead. Pull!
You missed. This time. I checked the club grounds. No Jerry Shoulder. She wasn't with Banyan. I headed back to L.A. fast. It was late when I reached L.A. I had to get the Lion. I phoned him at his apartment. Nobody home. I called again 15 minutes later. Still no answer. I was getting worried. I went to his apartment. He wasn't there. I checked with the janitor. He told me the Lion was on the roof. That's where I found him. In bed. Lion. Hey, Lion.
Lion, Detective. Oh, it's you, Jeffrey.
Why the Boy Scouting on the roof?
I'm sleeping in nature's own clean, sweet air. My boy. I moved my cot up here just this evening.
Look, Lion.
You're sleeping under the stars, just as Mother Nature intended.
Lion,
If Mr. Albright says my shoulder sleeps out even when it's raw, it's part of their health plan. Look at me, Jeffrey. I'm thinner already. You know, I've only had 8 kernels of the patented wheat today instead of 10. I did without dessert.
Listen, Fatso, I'm heading for Jerry Shoulder's hotel. I want you to check on Banyan.
You that low criminal?
Find out where he's been the last few days, how he's been spending his time, everything. Keep an eye on it.
All right, Jeff, if you insist.
I insist.
Do you think you'll find Miss Shoulder at a hotel?
Maybe. If she's alive. I dropped the Lion off at police headquarters to get a rundown on Banyan. Then I drove to Jerry Shoulder's apartment hotel. The street was quiet and deserted. Most of the windows were black, just a few lights here and there. Patio balconies. Very swank. Inside, there was a self-help elevator. I went up. The elevator opened onto a long corridor. A small night light down at the end. The room was 306. I was almost at the door when the door banged open, and coming at me fast was that mug from the beauty parlor, Mungo.
Out of my way.
No, brother, not this time. My fist found his stomach as soft as pie. He doubled and fell. I jumped over him and ran into the apartment. The lights were on. The living room was empty. I tried the bedroom. The light was on in there, too, glaring white on what I didn't want to see. There was a body lying across the bed. Not Jerry Shoulder. A man's body. A bullet through his chest. The dead man was Steve Albright. The ripped sheet that covered him was stained purple.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled She's Lovely, She's Engaged, She Eats Soybeans.
Steve Albright was dead in Jerry Shoulder's apartment. A bullet hole in his chest. And what looked like purple acid burns through the bedclothes. I'd caught Mungo, the well-dressed ape from the beauty parlor, coming out of the apartment door. And I knew that Mungo worked for Banyan, the racketeer. Albright had hired me as Jerry Shoulder's bodyguard. He'd have done better to have hired me as his. I called Candid at Homicide. Now, the police photographers were gone. We were waiting for the coroner. Candid sitting on the bed next to Albright's body. Candid was eating fig Newtons.
Well, I'm glad you held on to Mungo, Regan.
You think he did it, Candid?
Open and shut case.
You know, Jerry Shoulder was insured, but plenty.
Yeah, you said.
I called the night member of the insurance company right after I called you, Candid. They said all their policies were in effect but one. You know which one?
I'm not interested, Regan. I've got the killer.
It was the one that would have paid off to Albright.
The deceased.
If Jerry had married. That policy lapsed a month ago.
Well, my insurance is always lapsing.
Yeah, well, this one lapsed because Albright married Jerry Shoulder himself.
What?
The company wouldn't pay on that. And Albright couldn't let it out because there's no such thing as a married bathing beauty.
So Mungo was nuts about the dame. She gives him the come on. He finds out about her being married, comes up here and...
And?
Have a fig Newton, Regan. They're real fresh.
And?
Well, he was going to kill the girl, like they all do, Regan. You know that. But Mungo gets real mad when he finds her husband in her bed, and he knocks him off.
Mungo denies it.
They all do, Regan.
You know, Candid, the way the bullet entered, looks like it was a hurry-up job.
So Mungo was nervous.
You know Mungo worked for Banyan.
We've got the killer.
Right. Mind if I turn out these lights?
Hey, now, wait a... Regan, I can't see.
Yeah, it's kind of dark in here.
Regan, where are you? I feel something moving. There's a dead guy in here, Regan.
Give your eyes a chance to get used to the dark.
Oh, gee, turn the light on.
Huh? Barely make out the figure on the bed.
In the name of the law, Regan.
Okay, Candid. I've got all I need here. I left Candid and the dead man and headed for my car. But I saw something across the street that stopped me. A long black convertible with the top up. Over the wheel, I could see a face. Banyan. I ran across the street, grabbed the door handle just as the car started to move, opened it, and pulled the handbrake.
Take it easy, Regan. You're liable to get hurt.
Are you waiting for someone, Banyan?
What I do is my business.
Been up to Jerry's apartment tonight, Banyan?
Cops having a ball over there, Regan?
Yeah, real party. They're serving refreshments. Fig Newtons.
I stopped laughing in 29.
Maybe you've been in the building. Just got out. You were leaving without saying goodbye.
Where's Jerry's shoulder, Regan?
Let's look in your car trunk.
If anything happened to that girl, I'm holding you responsible.
Put that gun away.
She's the only clean, decent thing I've ever had in my life. Something a peeper like you wouldn't understand.
Try me.
Jerry's shoulder and I are engaged to be married.
You'll have to stand in line.
Yeah? Quitting the racket. Sure, at first I was just playing around with Jerry, but then I found she was...
Different.
A decent dame.
You've known Jerry Shoulder how long, Banyan? 3 weeks?
Ever since she's been in town. Yeah, maybe 3 weeks.
How'd you meet her?
I answered a Lonely Hearts ad.
Look, Banyan, I know you started that beauty shop front so you could meet Jerry there, or have her brought there so you could be nearer.
Oh, let's stop fishing.
Sorry, time's running out, Banyan. I gotta give it to you straight. Jerry Shoulder was married to Steve Albright.
What? Why, you lying.
Somebody's been killed in Jerry Shoulder's bed, and it looks like it might be a hubby. Maybe you better go take a look. Banyan ran upstairs, but I didn't have time to wait for his reaction. I had an appointment at Massive Enterprises. It was 4 a.m. now. A clear sky pouring cold moonlight down on the deserted stucco that housed Massive Enterprises Incorporated. The outside door was open. Steve Albright's office was locked. It opened on the third key. I tried. I snapped the overhead light on. Everything just as I remembered it. I opened the desk and found what I wanted. When Steve Albright had said that Massive Enterprises consisted of himself, he was almost right. The health food sideline was in the name of Martha Highgate. I used the phone to raise the line. Tried every place I thought he might be. Then tried the office of the Detective Bureau.
Yeah, Anthony J. Line, Detective Bureau. Anthony J.
Me,
Line.
Fatso.
Oh, Jeffrey, my boy. I've been trying to locate you.
What'd you get on Banyan?
That's what I wanted to tell you. I picked up his trail at the 7 Club.
He was with Jerry Shoulder.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just talked to Banyan.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, Jeffrey. I took his girl away from him.
Jerry Shoulder?
Yes, when they came out of the club, Banyan went to get his car. I spoke to Miss Shoulder and told her she was in great danger. Showed my credentials, and she came with me.
With you?
Yes. Oh, she's a very nice girl, my boy. She said she's had to go around with Banyan. He practically forced her to accompany him.
Where's Jerry Shoulder now?
Well, she was here at the office up until an hour ago. We had a midnight bite of wheat and quite a nice chat.
She's gone?
Well, I was out getting a drink of water, and when I came back, she was gone.
Anything else on Banyan?
Oh, yes. There is no Banyan.
Come again?
Banyan is just one of the aliases taken by a hoodlum whose real name is Highgate.
Highgate? And he has an older sister named Martha.
Yes, but how...
That's all I needed. Thanks, Lion. It began to make sense. When Banyan saw Jerry Shoulder had run out on him, he phoned downtown to Mungo, had Mungo check her apartment. That's where I found him. I looked through Albright's desk and found Martha Highgate's address. It was the Rondo Hotel. When I got there, the room clerk was smiling.
Room 405, Regan, but you won't find Martha Highgate up there.
Who will I find?
Smooth dame. Must be a friend. Had a bottle and some ice cubes sent up just a little while ago. Celebrating.
Celebrating?
Wearing a bathing suit.
I went upstairs and knocked on the door. I waited. Then I felt the knob turn in my hand. The door opened. And there, in a tight-fitting bathing suit, stood...
Come in, Mr. Regan.
Hey, wait a minute. You're not Jerry Shoulder.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
The room was dim, in pink light. There was a rosy globe hanging down from the ceiling. A phonograph was playing. And the woman was the bathing beauty's wardrobe mistress, Martha Highgate.
Drink, Mr. Regan?
No, thanks, lady.
Oh, don't you like me? Just a little.
I'll like you more after we talk.
Do you like me in this light? See, I've kept my figure young, Mr. Regan.
You can't cheat Father Time with a pink light, lady.
My hair looks almost black, if you don't stand too close. It's long, Mr. Regan.
You even had the bellboy fooled with that bathing suit and your hair down, Martha.
I'm Jerry Shoulder now.
It'll take more than wishing to give you what she has, lady.
Maybe a little drink will improve your eyesight.
No one's eyesight's too good in a darkened bedroom, Martha.
Bedroom?
You loved Steve Albright, didn't you, Martha?
Love Steve? Oh, sure, and he loves me.
Yeah, he did all right by you, too. Made you part of Massive Enterprises, gave you a cut of the profits. But that wasn't enough. You wanted him.
I've got him.
Oh, no, lady. Somebody's got him now, but not you.
Not Jerry Shoulder.
Steve Albright is dead.
Dead?
One thing, lady, you didn't know that Steve and Jerry were married.
Steve... Jerry.
Yeah, you should have turned that bedroom light on before you threw that acid.
What do you mean?
Jerry was on a date tonight with your brother.
No.
You killed Steve Albright, her husband.
Steve.
You made certain with a gun. But you couldn't stand the thought of Jerry's shoulder looking beautiful even in death. So you used acid, too.
I can use this gun again, Mr. Regan.
Oh, no, you won't use it again, Martha. You're a one-time gal. You won't kill again.
Don't try me.
Give me that gun, Martha.
Stand back.
Give it to me.
All right.
The muzzle blast was hot on my face. But Martha was still a poor hand with a gun. The bullet went wild, and I had her by the arms tight.
Get your hands off her, Regan.
Banyan.
Oh, honey, I knew you'd come. I knew you wouldn't let me take him.
All right, give me the gun, Regan. One inside your coat, too. That's right.
You won't get away with this, Banyan.
What's Regan doing here, sis?
Shoot him. Kill him, honey.
What's Regan doing in your room?
Well, he was going to take me in for killing Steve Albright. But now you won't let him. You won't let him, will you, honey?
Why the bathing suit?
She went up there to kill Jerry's shoulder, Banyan.
Why the bathing suit?
I'm as beautiful as she is.
Jealousy, Banyan. Your sister wanted Steve, but he fell for Jerry.
How about it, sis?
I wish now they'd been together tonight. I didn't know they were married. I'd have killed both of them. That's why I threw Jerry at you, honey. You wanted her, and I wanted to get rid of her. Oh, gee, I'm glad you showed up, honey. No, come on, kill Regan. Come on, shoot Regan.
No. That's not the way it's going to be. All right, Regan, here's your gun.
What?
Thanks, Banyan.
What are you doing? You're my brother. You can't do that. You can't turn me in.
You don't need to worry about Martha, Regan.
No, I can't.
So Jerry was married. Well, all that's over for me. But you tried to kill her, Martha. So I'm turning you in myself.
No, you can't. It'll hurt me. You're my brother. Yes,
The woman in the
my
bathing
brother.
suit, flattered with a rosy light, allowed her brother to take her by the arm and lead her from the room. Banyan delivered his sister to Candid down at Homicide. But to make sure, I followed Banyan's car all the way. Too bad about Banyan. Jerry was the only good thing that ever happened to him in his life. But it happened too late. Anyway, Candid finally found the scared Jerry shoulder, released Banyan's sidekick, Mungo, and that put a period. It was 10 in the morning when I checked in at the office. The lion was singing.
There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy.
Oh, nature boy.
Oh, Jeffrey.
Still packing away the wheat, Fatso?
Oh, yes. Notice how much weight I've lost already, my boy. You know, this morning I saw my cheekbones for the first time in years.
Oh, eyes sunken, color gray.
Jeffrey, I've never felt so healthy. Yeah, I've been eating nothing but golden grains of patented wheat.
Patented?
Patented. You know, Miss Shoulder eats nothing but health foods, Jeffrey. Last night she recommended a health food restaurant where we might have lunch. The Grated Garbanzo Grotto.
Fine.
It serves nothing but the finest dried soybeans.
Good.
Yes. Raw cabbage.
Delicious.
Delicious. Choice beech bark.
Yummy.
Yummy.
Yeah, I knew you weren't touching any other kind of food.
No, health foods, Jeffrey. Nature's boon to mankind.
That's why I turned down the invitation for you.
Morted mango. Invitation? What invitation?
Of course, I'm going.
You're going where?
Candid's barbecue out at his place. You were invited, but I knew you wouldn't be interested.
Barbecue?
No, you wouldn't want hot buttered corn.
Corn.
Rich Caesar salad.
Salad.
Mounds of golden brown French fried potatoes.
Oh.
Steaks 4 inches thick. So long, Lion.
Jeffrey, wait for me!
Jeff Regan, Investigator, is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS. Bob Stevenson speaking, reminding you that Jeff Regan will be back next week, transcribed. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. You get a call from a truck rental service. One of their trucks has disappeared. There's no sign of the man who rented it. Your job, find him. Years ahead of them all. Chesterfield is years ahead of them all. The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story. Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest. Chesterfield quality highest. 15% higher than its nearest competitor. Chesterfield quality highest. 31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Yes, Chesterfield is first with premium quality in both regular and king size. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 20th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Nelson. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 40. Auto theft. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Where'd you get the sunburn?
Went fishing yesterday.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Down Newport.
How'd you do?
Didn't.
What do you mean?
I didn't. Yesterday's the first day off we've been able to collect for a month.
Yeah, I know.
Last Thursday, I checked with a skipper. Said it looked like I'd be able to make it sure this weekend. So I called the place. I made reservations. All set. Gonna go fishing.
Yeah.
Saturday night, I got all my tackle out and took my reel apart, cleaned it, all ready, and they packed the lunch real good. Mm-hmm. I'm all set. Get up at 4:45 in the morning. I drove down to Newport. Beautiful morning, Joe.
Yeah,
Sun shining. Little wind, you know. Really looking forward to it. Gonna be a real day off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Get down there, get on the boat. Not many people, maybe 15 or 20.
Yeah, not many for a Sunday, was it?
No, that's why I think I got it made. I got a place right at the back of the boat, and we shoved off. I went down to get some breakfast. You know, load up and really pull those fish in.
Yeah.
I got through eating, went up on deck. Where do you suppose we were?
Well, I wouldn't know.
I'll take a guess.
Frank, I wouldn't have the least idea. All right, where were you?
Right back at the dock.
What?
Yeah, right back at the dock. They'd gone out to the ocean, and the water was so rough, they turned around and came right back. And all the while, I'm down below having breakfast. I didn't even see the ocean.
Oh, well, that's too bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Picked up my tackle, went over and fished on the pier. After all day. Ate my lunch and fished all day.
Well, how'd you do there? Pretty good, huh?
All day just getting a blister on my lip from the sun. I just sat there.
Yeah, well, did you catch anything? How'd you do?
Skunk.
What?
Skunk, nothing.
You mean you didn't catch anything at all?
Oh, a couple of perch.
Uh-huh.
Skunk.
Yeah, well, too bad. Did you check the book?
My day off. I'm skunked.
I got it. Auto theft Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, when did it go out? Yeah, just a minute. All right, what's that address again? Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll be right there. You bet. All right. I'll get your hat.
Yeah?
Truck rental company out on Pico. Guy came in Saturday and rented a 2-ton from him.
Yeah.
Said he'd be back in a couple hours.
Uh-huh.
They haven't seen him since. 8:24 a.m. We drove out to the address of the Coventry U-Drive truck service. The lot was on the corner of Pico Boulevard and Cambridge Street. Along the front of the place were several panel and pickup trucks, and in the back of the yard was one large stake truck. The office was in a small wooden building at the rear of the lot. We went in and talked to the manager, Mr. Stephen Cole.
Tried to check him this morning when the truck wasn't back. Once the landlady said she saw him come home with the truck set. She hasn't seen him since.
What's the man's name, Cole?
The name he used when he rented the truck was George Summers.
Did he have any identification?
Yeah, he had a driver's license. I got the number here on the slip. Oh, here it is. The California license. You gotta have one to rent a truck. He signed his name, George R. Summers. Number on the license was W414626.
26, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a truck was it?
A new Ford. Just got it a couple weeks ago. Brand new.
What color was it?
Blue, light blue. Had the name Coventry painted on the side. Name's in the cream color.
What kind of a truck is it?
2-ton stake.
Was it possible that this Summers is just keeping it out longer than he said he would?
Possible, but it isn't likely. Said when he came in, he wanted to haul a load of furniture. Said he just needed a couple of hours. That was Saturday morning. We haven't heard a word from him since. I got Red out looking for it now.
Who's Red?
Works for me.
Oh, I see.
When a truck is late getting back, we usually call first and send one of our men out to check on it. Red drove over to see the Summers. He left about an hour ago. I haven't heard from him yet.
Oh, I see. Do you get a deposit on the truck?
Yeah, we do. Some of the places don't, but we get one. $20.
Does Summers pay cash?
No, he gave me a check. Haven't had a chance to deposit it yet. I'll call the bank later.
Can you give us a description of the man?
Well, not very good. I was out in the yard when he came in. I didn't handle the deal myself. I got a look at him, but not good.
Would you know him again if you saw him?
Well, it'd be hard to say. I couldn't be sure. The girl would, though. She wrote out the papers.
I wonder if we could talk to her.
Yeah, she'll be in at 9. You can talk to her then.
You got his address there? I'll see if I can check the name.
Yeah. Here it is. 2462 New Jersey Street.
Okay. Can you give us some kind of a description on him?
Well, I told you I didn't get a good look at him. He's a small fella, blonde, maybe 25 or 26 around in there. That's about the best I can do. Excuse me a minute.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Drive. Yeah, how big? Oh, sure, we got one, yeah. Wait a minute, I'll check. Just a minute. Run you $2.10 the first hour, $1.25 an hour after that. Mm-hmm. No, there's gas in it when you get it, that's right. Oh, you pay for the gas. Well, there's a $20 deposit. That's right. Well, you get it back. California driver's license. Right. Cole. C-O-L-E. Okay, bye.
All right, if I use the phone there?
Oh, sure, help yourself.
Thanks.
Pretty busy, you right?
Yes, sir. Once in a while we get kind of slow, but it seems like everybody's moving or something all the time. They're back in the truck.
Please. Yeah, 2626.
Got 3 other places, you know, around town.
Mm-hmm. Hi there, it's Officer Frank Smith, 2633. Would you check the name George R. Summers, please? Well, he's described as WMA 23 to 27. Slight build. And blonde. So blonde. Possible address is given as 2462.
What if we could see the check he left his deposit, Cole?
Sure, I got it clipped on the back of the slip. Yeah.
Sure, I'll hang on.
Here it is. That truck is worth about $2,800 as it stands.
Well, you carry insurance on it, don't you?
Oh, sure, it's covered, but that isn't the point. That guy that just called wants to rent a 2-ton stake. Only got 2 of them. Somebody else calls, I'm going to lose the rental. That's what gripes me. Probably turn out that deposit check isn't any good either. I'm out all the way around.
How about it, Frank?
Well, I can't be sure. We've got a record on the George R. Summers. It might be it. Address is different, but out of 6 cards, it's the closest. Done time for possession.
What's he mean, possession?
It's narcotics. So how about it? Do you want it now?
No, nothing on him.
You give us the license number of the truck?
Yeah, it's right here. I got the body motor serial number 2. Lousy phone. Here's a slip. You can copy the dope yourself.
Thank you.
Cover you, Drive. Yeah. Is he there? Uh-huh. You tell me to get right down here. Yeah, you bring him. Right. Well, that's it.
Huh?
Call was from Red. He found Summers in his boarding house. Says he's been there since Saturday night.
How about the truck?
According to what he told Red, he left it out in front of the house Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Came back, it was gone.
9:14 a.m. The owner of the truck rental service called the bank that the deposit check had been written on. He talked to the cashier and found that there was enough money in Summers' account to cover the check. We got a full description from Cole's secretary of the suspect. The check of the truck company records showed that he'd never rented a truck from them before. 9:46 a.m. Summers arrived at the office of the U-Drive company. We talked with him briefly and asked him to accompany us downtown. We got out a local and an APB on the stolen truck. We checked his fingerprints against the record card and got a positive identification. 10:37 a.m. We took him to the interrogation room.
You ever been arrested? You know the answer to that.
I'd like to have you tell us.
Yeah, I fell once, did my time. I'm clean, no parole.
Want to tell us about this truck deal?
Sure, I got nothing to lose. I didn't have anything to do with it.
All right, from the beginning.
I rented about noon on Saturday.
What are you going to use it for?
I had to help a friend of mine move some furniture.
Now, what's the friend's name?
Louise Jordan.
Where she live?
2487 Clifford Street.
She got a phone?
No. Hey, listen, I don't want you guys going around there and giving her a bad time.
According to the landlady at your place, she saw you drive away from the rooming house in that truck Saturday afternoon. How about it?
Yeah, how about it?
What do you got to say?
She's off her rocker. She saw anybody 6'2" and even, it wasn't me.
Oh, the way we get it, she was pretty sure.
Well, then you get it wrong.
According to the record, you were picked up for violation of the State Narcotics Act, is that right?
I don't write the record. If that's what it says, that's what I fell for.
Well, let me see your arm.
Why?
I want to see your arm. Roll up your sleeve. Come on.
Look, I don't like the way you guys are acting. You got nothing on me. If you got anything to say it and get it over with. You got nothing, let me get out of here.
Sit down, Summers. Come on. Find a roll up your sleeve. Let me see your arm.
Not going to prove anything. Roll it up.
Yeah. Looks like you've been riding kind of high.
It's not as bad as it looks.
A lot of scar tissue.
That's from before.
They look fresh. When's the last time you had a pop?
A long, long time ago.
How long?
I don't remember.
You holding now?
No.
You got a habit?
No. Nothing rough. A joint pop once in a while.
You must think you're playing with kids, Summers. Why don't you stop conning us? You look like you're hooked and you know it.
You're as bad as my landlady.
Frank?
Yeah.
You want to get in touch with narcotics? See if Roxy can come over.
Sure, right away.
What's the deal on calling him over?
Why don't you have him look at your arm, see what he thinks?
He'll tell you. It's like I said.
Well, there's one sure way to find out.
What's that?
Drop you in a cell and wait. If you haven't got a habit, you won't mind. We're going to hold you anyway.
For what?
Story about the truck's got too many holes in it.
Well, what do you mean? It's true the way I told you. That's the way it happened. You don't believe anything, do you?
Yeah, the truth when we hear it.
I'm giving you that. You aren't buying it.
Maybe it's the way you're trying to sell it. You want to tell us what really happened to that truck?
I told you. I parked it out in front of my house. When I came back, it was gone. Isn't anything more.
Well, if you were home, how come your landlady says she didn't see you from Saturday afternoon on?
I came in the back way. For once, the old bat was looking the other way.
You mean you stayed in your room all that time?
Yeah, that's what I said.
What do you do for a living?
You mean, do I work?
That's right.
No.
You don't work, huh?
No, I had a job, but I lost
When?
it. Friday.
What'd you do?
I was a pro diver.
Where'd you wash dishes?
Place down on 6th.
Why'd you get fired?
Boss and I had a beef.
What about?
He got hacked because I came in late.
Roxy's on his way over, John.
It's Roxy? That, Roxy Lucarelli?
Yeah, do you know him?
Yeah, I ran into him before. Nice guy, treated me right.
He's the one that nailed you?
He's one of them.
I know these joy pops you've had. Where do you get this stuff?
Around.
Where around?
Here and there.
Why don't you come off it, Summers? You might think you're playing it cozy, but you're laying a big bomb here. The story you're trying to peddle us is phony all the way through. We know it, and so do you. Now, why don't you level on it? Make it a lot easier.
I'd like to, Cop. Really, I would. There's just one big problem.
Yeah.
You're off base. You know it. You haven't got anything on me. I rented a truck. It was stolen. I'm the one that reported it. I didn't try to get away. I'm telling you all I know. You're leaning all over me because I fell once. You guys just can't stand to see anyone carry a lunch bucket for long. You got to try to make up for something, even if you have to build it yourself. But you made a big mistake this time, Cop. You haven't got anything on me that you can stick. All I got to do now is keep my mouth shut and you're up an alley. And that's what I'm going to do. You're not going to get another word out of me.
All right, now tell us again about the truck. Come on. What time did you find out it was gone?
You can tell us that.
Did you leave the keys in the truck when you parked it? All right, mister, you're playing it smart. Let's see how long you can make it last. We'll see how it is after you've been sitting in the cell for a few hours. We'll try it again then, huh?
I'm going to take my time.
You do that. We got a lot of it. Sergeant Roxy Lucarelli came over from the narcotics division to talk to the suspect. Summers would say nothing. The marks on Summers' arm were fresh, and indications were that he was a narcotics user. Summers was booked at the main jail on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. Frank and I, along with Sergeant Lucarelli, went over to the suspect's rooming house. A thorough search of the place netted us nothing. We talked with the landlady, and she gave us the same story she'd given the owner of the U-Drive truck service. She said that it was possible for Summers to come in through the back of the house and get to his room without being noticed. But she told us that there'd been several phone calls for him on Sunday, and that when she'd knocked on his door, there'd been no answer. 5:30 p.m. We checked back into the office and found that there'd been no replies to the broadcast we'd gotten out on the truck. We ran Louise Jordan, Summers' girlfriend, through R&I, but we found no record on anyone answering her description. We drove out and talked to her, and she verified the suspect's story about moving the furniture. A meeting with the district attorney's office decided that there was not enough evidence to bring Summers to court on the narcotics charge and not enough to issue an indictment for the theft of the truck. He was released from custody. In the next 3 weeks, we got reports of 4 more trucks being stolen. The M.O. was the same as with the Coventry U Drive theft. In each instance, the persons involved were checked out, but the leads we came up with led us nowhere. Additional M.O. bulletins were gotten out warning all operators of U-Drive agencies to be on the lookout for a thief or thieves unknown. Another 2 weeks passed. The thefts continued, but the thieves had switched their method of operation. They were now stealing privately owned automobiles from parking lots and in front of homes. Thursday, June 4th, Frank and I checked into the office. I got it. Hold on, that's Friday. Yeah, please, put it through. It's Al Gaten from San Diego. Yeah? Yeah, hi, Al. Uh-huh. When? Yeah. Will anybody near it? How about papers? Yeah, no, we'll be right down. Yeah, okay. What? Uh-huh. I've been keeping up. Right. Well, maybe it is. No, we'll leave here right away. We'll see you in about, let's see, it's 10:20 now. About 3 hours? About how long it'll take us for. Yeah, bye. Bye, Al. Well, he says that truck from Coventry U Drive has been found. Where? Just outside Rosarito Beach in Mexico. Yeah. Found new registration papers and something else under the seat. Huh? 12 bundles of heroin.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Chesterfield is best for you. Listen to Chesterfield's record. For a full year and 2 months, a doctor has been making regular examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers, and he reports no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield. First choice with Young America. And that's from a survey of 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Remember, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
A.m. We talked with Captain Nelson about the latest developments in the case, and he instructed us to leave for San Diego. When we arrived at San Diego, we checked with their auto theft detail and with Sergeant Al Gaten. He went with us to the border. We talked with the authorities at the border, but they could give us little information. They said that they'd received the bulletins we'd sent out, but that they hadn't seen the stolen vehicles. We checked with the authorities at Tijuana, and with them, we drove to the location where the truck had been found. A thorough search of the area was started, but we turned up nothing. None of the people in the immediate vicinity could tell us anything about the truck. From the registration slip, we got the name of the owner. The license plates were issued by the state of California, but a check showed that they'd been taken from a wrecked car. The narcotics found in the cab of the truck were turned over to the Mexican police. The next morning, Frank and I left for Los Angeles. While we'd been gone, officers Bill Donovan and Jack Pilkington, along with Sergeant Al Mansell, had been following up the leads in the Los Angeles area. They hadn't come up with anything new. The car thefts continued. State police units along the road to the Mexican border were alerted, but the cars continued to disappear. 2 weeks went by. Tuesday, June 23rd, Frank and I came back from a meeting with members of the National Auto Theft Bureau. Want to check the book?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Well, these thefts are sure dropping our recovery record, aren't they?
Yeah. Talked to Skipper this morning. The insurance companies are raising the roof.
Well, I figures it's costing them a lot.
There's a message here from Judge Shelton. Wants us to call him.
Sheriff's Department?
Yeah. Marked important.
You want to get it?
Yeah, I'll get it. Narcotics, please. Yeah, Judge Shelton there? Yeah, thanks. He's there. Hey, Judge, is Frank Smith over at Auto Theft? Yeah. Oh? Well, why do you think that's it? Yeah. When are you going to meet her? Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll be right over. Right. Goodbye.
Anything?
Yeah, Judge got a call this morning from a girl. Said she's been invited down to Mexico.
Yeah.
Says 2 of them are going down to pick up some heroin.
Yeah. Where do we fit in?
Girl told Judge they'd be driving a stolen car.
We went over to the Hall of Justice and talked with Sergeant Judge Shelton. He told us about the call he'd received. He said that he was supposed to meet the girl at 3:30 that afternoon, and he wanted to know if we wanted to accompany him. We told him we did, and at 3:15 p.m., the 3 of us walked into a bar on West 7th. We waited for the girl to arrive. 3:46.
Here she comes.
The bar?
Yeah.
Hi, Jed.
Sir, I'd like you to meet a couple of friends of mine. Kurt Collins, Frank Smith, Joe Friday.
How do you do,
How
sir?
do you?
Sit down, Barry.
Thanks.
Can I get you anything? Sandwich, cup of coffee?
No. I could use an old-fashioned, though. Tell him to give you a big piece of orange.
Okay, I'll get it. Excuse me.
Sure. You 2 guys cops?
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Where do you work out of?
Central Auto Theft.
Well, that's why Jed called you, huh?
Pardon?
About the hot car we're driving south.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Vera. Why don't you use that?
All right, Vera. You know where the stolen car is, the one they're going to drive down?
Not now. I will, though.
What do you mean?
I don't think it's been stolen yet.
What?
Well, I don't think the car's been stolen yet.
Well, do you know when it's going to be taken?
Sometime this afternoon. We're supposed to leave tonight.
You know who's going to take it?
Just a friend of mine. A fellow named Harry Sloan.
Here's your old-fashioned, Vera.
Oh, thanks, Jed.
You know how this operation's going to work, Vera?
No. All I know is I got a call from Harry this morning. He asked me what I was doing. I told him nothing, so he asked me if I wanted to take a drive down to Mexico. I told him I would, and he said he'd pick me up.
He's going to pick you up at your house?
No, he said he'd call me and let me know where to meet him.
Well, where's he going to call you?
My place in about an hour.
What did he say it makes you think the car's going to be stolen?
Just the way he talks. Can't say anything real definite, just the way he talked.
You work alone?
No, there's another guy with him. I don't know who it is.
What did he say to you about the narcotics?
Just said that he was planning to pick up some H down there. Didn't say where.
He give us a description of this Harry, where he lives?
Yeah, I can give you that.
Got a record, do you know?
Never talked about it. I think maybe he's been picked up a couple of times, but I don't think he served time.
You said on the phone you had an idea how we could take him.
Yeah. You see, I'll have to drive my car to meet them. As soon as I get a call from Harry, I'll get in touch with you and tell you where the meet's going to be. I'll park my car and leave the license number of the stolen car in it.
Where?
In the back seat.
Judd, wouldn't it be a lot easier if we just kept her under surveillance?
Might be better for you, but it wouldn't for me. Harry found out I'd been playing footsie with you guys. He'd kill me sure. This is a big operation. Isn't just Harry in on it.
What do you mean?
All those cars that have been stolen lately, the trucks, it's all part of the deal. Same bunch is doing it.
Oh, you mean it's an organized ring?
Sure. They got it all laid out from here to Ensenada. All the way it's planned.
You know who the top man is?
No. I never heard the name. Harry never used it.
They take all the trucks down to Mexico, do they?
From what I understand, most of them end up down there.
You got any idea how they do it?
No.
What do you want out of this?
What?
Well, where are you going to come out, Vera? Why are you telling us all this?
Judd gave me a break once. This is my way to pay him back. Harry doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care if you get him.
Well, I still think we got to keep you under surveillance. Be safer for you, Vera.
Don't worry about it. I'll let you know right where I'm going to park my car. You find that, and I'll see that the other information's there. I better get going now.
Just a minute. You want to give us a description of Sloan?
Sure, I can tell you what Harry looks like. What are you going to do, check up on him?
We'd like to know who we're after.
I don't think you'll find anything. Be pretty surprised if you do.
Not as surprised as he'll be. We got the description of Harry Sloan and called the office to check the name. There was no record of anyone answering his description. Vera Collins was unable to tell us anything about the second man in the operation. She went back to her home and waited for the phone call from Sloan. We returned to the office and waited for her to contact us with the information about the stolen car. At 5:15 p.m., we got a call from her saying that her car would be parked somewhere within a 16-block area. From Washington Boulevard to the north, Adams Boulevard to the south, from Crenshaw Boulevard to the west, and Arlington Avenue to the east. Frank, Judge Shelton, and I drove out to the area and began to cruise the vicinity. We spent the next hour looking for the car. When we were sure that it was not in the designated area, we began to expand our search. At 6:37 p.m., we found the car parked on a small side street near St. Charles Place, 12 blocks outside the designated area. We searched the car and found a slip of paper in the back seat. It said, Chevrolet sedan, blue color, 1C33272. We'll try to stall Harry on way to Tijuana. It was signed Vera. We got out a local and an APB with special attention to the Border Patrol on the car, asking that if it was found abandoned, to place a stakeout on it and to notify us immediately. It was 7:02 p.m. when we started to drive to the Mexican border. We kept in constant radio contact with Sergeant Al Gayton at the border, and he told us that the suspect's car had not crossed over yet. 10:37 p.m. We drove through National City and took the road to Tijuana. Just south of Chula Vista, we picked up a car that matched the description of the stolen vehicle.
How about it, Joe?
Yeah, it matches. Frank, can you get a little closer?
Yeah, I think so.
Different license plate, Judge.
Probably switched to cold plates. That's why they haven't been spotted before. You see him yet?
Yeah, it's the Collins woman, all right.
Want to take him now?
Yeah. I'll get the sign.
Doesn't look like they're going to stop.
I'll make a try for the tires, Frank.
Wait a minute, Joe. Yeah, road's clear ahead. All right. They're slowing down.
Yeah, they're pulling over. All right, get your hands on that wheel where I can see them.
I'll cover the other side.
Right. Come on. Right. All right, get out of the car.
What are you trying to prove with all this shooting?
Come on, mister, get out of the car.
Come on, you two, get out.
I don't know what you're trying to prove. We haven't done anything.
Come on, let's don't argue.
All right, mister, over to the car.
I'll take him, Joe. You're going to be sorry about this. You got no right to stop us.
Stand still. Yeah, he's clean. Turn around. You're George Summers, aren't you?
Yeah.
They picked you up for that stolen truck about 6 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had to let me go. You're going to do the same this time. You got nothing to hold me
No,
on.
you're wrong there, Summers. Where'd you get this car?
I borrowed it.
From who?
A friend of
He
mine.
knows you took it, huh?
Certainly, he told me to.
This car's stolen, and you know it. We know all about the operation, the whole deal. You going to stay on the rap alone, or you going to tell us who the big gun is?
What do you mean, operation?
This isn't the first car you've shoved across the border. We know about the narcotics, too. You're in this all the way. And you got a choice. You can take it alone, or you can go along with us and nail the big guy. It's up to you.
Wouldn't do any good if I told you who he was. I can't prove anything on him, neither can you. You'll never get him, never.
Is that right?
Sure, he told me so. Cops will never get me. Those are his words. That's what he said.
Well, that's not new.
Huh?
You said the same thing.
The story you have just heard is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On November 19th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, all of us on Dragnet are proud to be associated with Chesterfield because, believe me, Chesterfield is years ahead of them all. You just can't beat a cigarette that was good to begin with and keeps getting better all the time. But, of course, you can't find out how much you'll like them until you try them. That's what we'd like you to do. Try a couple of packs of milder Chesterfield, regular or king size. I know you'll agree that Chesterfield is best for you.
George Richard Summers and Harry Alden Sloan were tried and convicted of grand theft auto, 1 count. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1, nor more than 10 years.
Next week, The Big Gun, Part 2.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Herb Ellis. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig on NBC.
This one's about Pete Kelly. The world he goes around in. It's about the big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues. Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb. With story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner. My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. Before Prohibition, the building housed a cleaning and dyeing plant. It hasn't changed much. The vats came in handy. Still tough to get a clear gin, but a lady likes the idea of a drink to match the color of her dress. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who wouldn't harm a fly. There's no money in harming flies. We start every night about 10 and play till the customers get that first frightening look at each other in the early light. Lupo's working on a scheme to push the dawn back for at least one more hour. I don't think he'll make it, but I wouldn't want to risk a buck against him. The last night, everything was routine until I saw her again. We were just winding up the third set when she came in, flanked with the same deadpan gunsel. She sat alone at the same table, ordered the same drink, smoked the same Egyptian deities, and gave me that same loving look. The gunsel, as usual, nibbled at his drink at the bar, and his eyes playing watchdog for the girl. This was the fifth night, 4 nights running, same girl, same gunsel, same routine. Sit for 5 solid hours, drink, smoke, and work me over with her eyes, reach down deep for a sigh, and leave with deadpan right behind her. Well, I didn't like it. I was beginning to taste salt on my tongue. We went into a finish, and the girl looked once at the gunsel. He nodded, left the bar, and started to the stand. All right. Nick, can you push it a little? It helps when we can hear the beat. All right, don't audition for me. Just do it, huh?
Pete.
Yeah, Red.
That babe's here again.
I know. All right, what do we got up next?
Working up a head of steam, Pete.
Well, she's beginning to make me feel like a wayside shrine.
You.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a request? A number you'd like to
No,
have?
I got no request, but the lady, she's got a request.
The lady?
What's the matter? You don't see the lady? How come you don't see the lady when she's looking right at you?
Oh, that lady. Yeah, sure, I see the lady.
So why do you make like you don't see the lady when all the time you know the lady's looking right at you?
Look, friend, I'm only a poor underpaid employee in this trap. Now, my contract says I'm to play music to please the patrons. I'd be very happy to do anything the lady likes to please the lady.
So, all right.
So what does she want me to do?
Well, she wants you to have a drink with her.
Sure, that'd be an honor. But I'm afraid that Mr. Lupo, he's my boss, you know. George Lupo, the proprietor, he doesn't like his employees to mingle
I
with
will talk to Lupo. He'll like it.
Yeah, you could probably make him love it.
Come on.
I'll be right back, Red. Use some nickels.
Right, Petey. Vita, this is Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kelly, this is Vita Brand.
Sit down, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, thanks.
All right now, Vita? You happy?
I'm getting happier by the minute.
Sure, you want me to go back to the bar?
But here it's more friendly. Hello, Pete.
Hello, Miss Brand.
Vita.
Vida?
You like my name?
Sure, it's beautiful.
Vida. I only just got it last week.
It'll take a little time to break it in,
Let me hear you say it.
Vida.
Yeah. I like the way you say it. Like you mean it.
Yeah, I do. I never meant anything more in my life.
That's because you're sincere. I knew you were sincere the first time I looked at you. Remember the first night I came in? Sat here and looked at you.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty busy up there, you know.
Ain't slept a wink since that night.
Well, maybe if you go home and put your mind to it, huh?
No use, Pete. I tried. Nothing's any good. Nothing I can do is going to change it.
Change what?
The way I feel.
Sick?
Yeah.
With what?
With love.
Oh, poor Vida. Yeah, well, beautiful girl like you, no trouble finding another man.
I don't want another man.
You don't want another man.
I want you.
That's what Vida wants, you.
I love you, Pete.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's the way it ought to be. Everybody love everybody else. It's a better world. Well, I got a number to do.
Now, you shut up. The lady is trying to tell you how much she loves you, so pay attention.
Yeah.
First time I saw you, Pete. Hit me like a dum-dum bullet.
Well, excuse me. I have to earn $1.
Frame it. It's the last one you'll have to earn.
All right. Let's do one. What do you got up?
Till we meet again.
All right.
Petey.
Yeah, Red.
That babe, I got the rumble on her from Lupo.
Yeah.
Ever hear of a citizen named Bacalides? The 3-for boy. 3 killings for the price of 2.
All right, Red. Funnel it down, huh?
She belongs to Bacalides. Loser, Petey. Loser.
Yeah, you told me what, now tell me how. Well, let's try one. Let's do it till we meet again. All right, we'll make a slow intro out of the last 8. We'll go back to the top. Nick, you take the first 4 going in. Everybody got it?
Guilty.
All right. Let's try it. Come on, let's all play it, huh? All right, once more.
Nervous, Petey?
No, I'm not nervous. Now, come on, everybody, once more. All right. No break.
Pete, Gunsel's heading this way again.
Yeah, I know. What do we got up next?
Brew, sweet little you, and in addition, one
All right. Now, look, friend, I got a job to do.
From it. Let's go.
Where?
Now, you listen, Buster. This ain't a lollipop poking you in the gut. I can drop you and be out of here before you hit the floor.
Yeah. Let's go. Well, we went outside. The Hispano out in front probably wasn't as long as it looked. We've got fairly short blocks in this part of town. Vida took the wheel. She banked low around the corner, pulled out of a half Immelman, gained a little altitude, and flew blind for downtown Kansas City. Vida glanced at me from the corners of charged eyes. Itch just glanced at me. I leaned my head back and closed my eyes. The Hispano whipped down Main Street, lost altitude as we gained the deserted financial district, made a perfect no-point landing at the side entrance of the Grundy Bank and Savings. Well, we went into the bank through the family entrance. One light was burning, and it hung low over the biggest dice table I ever saw in any bank. The stick man was busier than a flea on a fat lady. He called the plays and called the points, and not one of the 50 torpedoes glanced at us as we climbed a short flight to an upstairs office. 2 men were in the room. One, a shadow dressed in dark clothes, looked through a small window onto the dice game down below. The Tommy gun rested easy across his knees. The other man sat behind a desk no bigger than the loading platform at Union Station. He was counting money. Neat, orderly piles of bills were stacked around him like a well-trimmed hedge. We waited while he finished thumbing a book of 50s. He just held them up to his ear, fanned them once, made a note on a pad by his elbow. Finally, he turned his swivel chair to face us. He was all chin and jaw. He leaned back, made a church steeple with his fingers, drew me a credit manager's smile, and rocked his chair gently to and fro.
Well, come in, Mr. Kelly. Sit down. You're among friends.
Yeah, thanks.
Pete, permit me to introduce you to this here gentleman here who's very fond of you.
Sure, everybody loves me tonight.
Oh, he doesn't love you. Only I love you. He's merely very fond of you.
I am Bacalides.
Yeah.
He's confused. Ain't he cute? Ain't he cute when he's confused?
What is your confusion?
How much time do you have?
I am at your disposal.
Well, look, it runs something like this, Mr. Bacalides. I play cornet, see? At 417, I mind my own business. I try not to poke a thumb in anybody's eye. Well, I noticed this young lady here sitting out front, and tonight she asked me to have a drink with her. Well, naturally, I'm flattered.
Yes,
but,
yes, I know all this, but what is your confusion?
Well, it seems that this young lady here has some kind of an idea that she sort of likes me and...
Loves you, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, well, loves me, like you say. Well, I don't figure myself for no Rudolph Valentino, so I get an idea that it's a rib, and especially since I know how both of you...
Not both. One. Me, I love Vida very much.
Oh, darling, you're sweet.
Yeah, that's right, for a fact. And when Vida thinks it over, I'm sure
There's nothing more to think over, Mr. Kelly. Vida has stopped loving me, all right, I face it. It makes me very unhappy, but I face it. Now she loves you. She wants you. I know how unhappy this can make her. I do not like for Vida to be unhappy, so Vida and me, we talk it over. We decide you will marry Vida.
Thank you, darling. You're sweet.
There's nothing, Vida. You know how I will do anything to make you happy, anything.
All right, now how about doing something to make me a little happy, huh?
But I give you Vida.
Yeah, well, I pass.
You refuse?
Oh, Pete, you don't mean that.
You have made Vida cry. I do not like to see Vida cry. Tell her you do not mean that.
Goodbye, friend. I got a number to do at 417, and it ain't Here Comes the Bride.
Yeah. Pick him up.
On your feet.
You will ask Vida to be your wife.
What's the next best offer?
Itch, don't hurt him.
I won't. All right, Itch. I think Mr. Kelly wants to say something.
Yeah.
Kelly.
Huh?
Who am I?
Huh?
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Whiskey. Put him in that chair.
Come on, boy.
Hold his head back. All right, he is fine now.
Yeah. All I need is a few kind words.
I will give them to you. Just repeat after me. Vida, I love you.
Vida, I love you.
Mean it.
Vida, I love you.
Oh, Pete.
Will you marry me?
Will you marry me?
Oh, darling, of course I will.
Congratulations. We drink to it. To the happy bride and groom. Long life.
Long life.
Long life.
Yeah.
Now, here's how. Tomorrow afternoon, you and Vida will marry in City Hall. Itch will be best man. Then you go on a nice long honeymoon, drive to Canada in my Hispano, which I give Vida for a wedding present.
Look, I got a job here in town, 417 Cherry.
Go back to that crib. Tell the boss you quit. Tear up your cornet.
I'm loaded, Pete.
Loaded.
All right. Here's a pound of 50s. Tomorrow morning, you buy some clean clothes, top to bottom, inside and out. You will meet Vida at City Hall, 2 o'clock. Here's the key to the Hispano. Take it. Now kiss Vida good night.
Yeah.
Good night, Angel. I'll be the happiest bride in the world.
Sure.
And you'll be the happiest bridegroom.
Yeah, or the saddest step. Well, I left the office inside the spin of a top. The Hispano stood by the curb, sleek and calm, just like nothing had happened. Nothing at all. Well, I pointed for the 12th Street Bridge, made the other side of the river, and set a course down Boulder Road for Fat Annie's place. Oh, I tried to imagine life with Vida Brand. And then I thought of 6 painless ways of committing suicide. And I began to feel better. Fat Annie's place was doing a fair business for the lull hours. Maggie Jackson was standing back by the piano. I groped my way to the bar, ordered a bromo and ammonia, and listened.
All right, for the wealthy gentleman from Detroit. He needs me. All right, Ray.
doesn't know it, but he needs me. And so no matter where he goes, though he doesn't care, he knows I'm there. He needs me. I gotta follow where he leads me, or else he'll never know that I need him. Love says he needs me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulate me, Maggie.
Congratulations. What for?
Let's get back here. I want you to be the first to know. In here.
Pete, who looked you over?
You ever hear of a nail named Vita Brand?
Vita? Why, she don't weigh hardly enough to beat the white of an egg.
What do you know about her, Maggie?
Nothing much for sure. Only she's Bacalides' package, and that makes her a package nobody tampers with. Nobody.
Yeah, nobody but me.
Not if you love life, you don't.
I gotta.
Who says?
Bacalides says.
Petey, you all right?
Till tomorrow at 2 o'clock, yeah.
What's then?
Then's the wedding.
Who?
Mine and Vita Brand.
Petey, you've gone simple for sure. You know what Bacalides will do to you?
Look, Maggie, I just left Bacalides and Vita.
Catch you with her?
Look, that way I'm healthy. If he catches me without her, I'm dead in my socks.
Petey, you're taking those risks too fast. Slow it down a little. Bacalides, he's just crazy about that woman. Remember Albino Artie? He once looked at Vita like Bacalides didn't buy. That was 6 or 7 weeks ago. You seen Albino Artie for the past 6 or 7 weeks? No, nobody has.
Well, hear this. Bacalides orders me to marry Vita at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Now square it for me. Why?
And Vita, what did she say about this?
Only that she loves me.
She tell that to Bacalides?
Right to his platinum teeth.
I'm getting that feeling, Petey, like my grandmother used to get.
And what's it tell you?
That Vita's preparing herself to be a bride and a widow both in the same day.
Yeah. Well, I better move.
You do that, Pete. Fast and far.
So long, Maggie. I will.
And if I were you, I wouldn't stop moving till I heard him speaking foreign languages.
Well, marry Vita and I'm a dead bridegroom. Don't marry Vita, I'm a dead bachelor. Well, I decided to try to be a live fugitive. I raced the Hispano back across the river, pulled up sharp in front of 417 Cherry. The brakes never made a sound. Lupo was pounding the cash register with both fists. He threw the usual glare at me as I pushed through to the bandstand. Hold it down, huh? Hold it down. Let's do this one real fine, for me. It's my last time around.
Pete?
Yeah, Red.
You being pushed out?
Yeah, it's that or carried out. All right. Let's do Singing the Blues, huh? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. All right, that'll do. Now, look, boys, I'm not going to be around for a while. A little business I got to take care of. Well, you'll hear from me, so just keep at it right here until... Red?
Yeah, Pete?
In the alley, huh? Look, Red, I'm in a jam.
What can I do to help you?
Thanks, but nothing. I got to keep moving. Maybe cool off in a couple of weeks, maybe not. Meantime, try to keep the boys together, huh?
Sure.
Well. So long, Red. Take care of yourself, huh?
Pete, need anything? Couple of bucks, Erskine, anything?
No, I'm fine. I'll see you. It wasn't easy. I was going to miss the boys. I missed Red already. No, it wasn't easy. But there was only one exit. I drove around to the rooming house, raced up the stairs. All I had to take was a clean shirt, my other suit, and my book of arrangements. I'd hightail it east, just keep rolling till I ran out of road. That was the plan, until I got to my room. She was stretched across my bed, and she looked right at me as I came in. And there she was, on my bed, looking right at me, but I was all alone. Now, Vida would never be anybody's widow. She was too dead to say I do. The stocking from her left leg was where no girl's stocking ought to be, knotted tightly around her throat. Well, I tiptoed back to the door, as though she was a light sleeper. I closed the door very gently behind me, and then I raced down the 3 flights into the street, into the Hispano, and into high speed. There was no lambing out of this one. You just don't hit the road in a car belonging to the stiff you leave behind. For such violations, the law is strict. Also, Bacalides. Well, I pulled up hard in front of Sour Sammy's joint. This time, the brakes cried. Barney Ricketts was sitting at his usual table in his usual state, boiled and loud. Barney's the only ex-bootlegger in the country who went broke in 1922. He says he did that to aggravate a couple of prohibition agents he hated. Well, Barney saw me come in and waved me over to his table.
Ah, Pete Kelly. Welcome, Petey, and have a drink.
Look, Barney, I'm up to my eyes.
Nonsense, Petey. You haven't even opened them yet. Ah, here we are. A drink for you and a drink for me.
Now, listen, Barney, I'm in trouble.
Petey, I have suddenly become oppressed by the state of the world. Well, it's my own fault, Petey, my own fault. I make it a rule never to look at the public prints. But tonight, well, just listen to these few choice items.
Now, look, Barney, right now I'm a moving target for Bacalides' gun.
Last night's edition of the Star. Look here, Petey, September 8, 1923. Girl forced to leap from stranger's automobile. But let us remember, Petey, that the only girls who leap from strangers' automobiles are those who climb into them. And here, look here.
All right, Barney.
California politicians say they are responsible for President Calvin Coolidge's success. Probably insist, Petey, that it's in honor of their state that he's called Cal. And this, Petey...
Barney, look, there's a dead girl in my room.
German Marx quoted at 28 cents per million. So you see, Petey, even a German millionaire is pushed hard to feel like 30 cents.
Look, Vida Brand, Bacalides' girl, she's dead, Barney, in my room.
Well, now, that's most careless of you, Petey.
If I run, it's the law, Barney. If I stand still, it's Bacalides.
How did you get mixed up with Vida Brand and Bacalides?
I don't know. I'm still in last week's fog. She wanted to marry me. Bacalides said I would or else. Why, Barney? Why if he torched for her?
Very simple problem in human relationships, Petey. Tonight, the word got out that Muggsy Brand was sprung.
Who's Muggsy Brand?
Vida's father. He was sent up last year. Vida's his whole life. He tried to guard her like Lupo guards his cash register. He hates Bacalides, and if he learned that he and Vida...
Yeah, now it's coming into focus.
Sometimes, Petey, you're dull-witted. Dull-witted, but stupid.
So Bacalides and Vida rigged it to disarm her old man. She marries me, takes the heat off Bacalides.
Splendid, Petey, splendid.
And her old man winds up throwing the knife at me. All I got to do now is explain Vida's body in my room to Muggsy Brand.
Precisely what Bacalides expects you to face.
All right. Glue the rest of it together for me, will you?
Bacalides is married. He could never square himself with Vida. He got in deeper than he wanted to. He couldn't dump her because of Muggsy coming out. So he ties her onto you, gets her up to your room, leaves her dead on your bed.
How do I back out of this one, Barney?
Do you know where to reach Bacalides?
Yeah, at the Grundy Bank.
His dice game?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, go there. See Bacalides, lay it on the line for him. All the way, just like we talked in here.
Well, they'll cut me down.
He might.
How much edge do I have?
Not quite enough to shave with.
But maybe just enough to cut my throat, huh?
It's your only chance, Pete. You're in the middle of a 3-way push. The law, Bacalides, Muggsy Brand.
All right, Barney. I'm counting on you on the outside.
Don't worry, Petey. I'll be there with bells on.
Yeah, make sure they don't toll for me. Well, I went back to the Grundy Bank and Savings. I had no trouble getting in. The game was just heating up. I stalled around the dark edges of the table for a minute and laid a few bucks on the field. Upstairs, the light was on in the office. The boy with the big piece was still sitting at the window. I could see the head and shoulders of Bacalides. He was still counting money. I started slowly up the stairs, went into the room without knocking. The muscle man swung sharp, pointing the heater at my stomach. Bacalides, fast for a big man, flung out a hand and knocked the gun out of line.
Hold it. Next time knock, or you pick up a lot of weight.
Yeah, or a silk stocking around my neck?
No, for you a knife. From the fingers of the best shiv man in the country.
Muggsy Brand?
Don't try to run, Kelly. He likes a moving target. Just go to him. Tell him his daughter is in your bed, a stocking around her throat. Tell him you don't understand any of it. He will be very sympathetic.
Oh, that's nice, Mr. Bacalides. You set it up real nice.
Smart, huh?
Sure. You persuade Vita to buzz it around that I'm number one. Everything's fixed for her father's ears. Even get her to help you push her across by going up to my room.
You tell a good story, friend. Maybe too good.
Oh, put that rod down, Bacalides, before you drop it and break your toe.
Maxie, take him downstairs. Come back alone.
Petey, look out. Get down. Muggsy.
Barney, you all right?
Shell shock.
Muggsy Brand?
Yes, Pete. I knew where he was. All he heard was Bacalides.
Kelly.
Yeah, Muggsy.
Bacalides. I got him?
He was between the guns. Not much left of him. Or his trigger man.
Or me. Now listen. You might poke. Money. Take it. You might get a good burial.
Easy, Muggsy, huh?
She was only a kid. Maybe if she met a guy like... He's gone, Pete.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Pete? A guy like who?
Who knows, Barney? Who knows?
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart, scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph records.
The proceeding was transcribed. It's the Silver Jubilee on NBC. There's another thrilling adventure in store for you tonight with Les Damon as the hard-hitting adventurer known as the Falcon. Later, hear the best in music, the tunes which America is singing. Yes, we bring you a sparkling new program devoted to the best in popular music and presided over by well-known musical director Meredith Wilson. Tonight, make a listening reminder to hear Meredith Wilson's Music Room. Les Damon as the Falcon, tonight on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to auto theft detail. You arrested one member of an organized ring of thieves. You're after the head man of the gang. Your job, get him. Here is Chesterfield's record with smokers, and important to you.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report of a doctor who has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers for a full year and 2 months. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality. Chesterfield. First choice of young America. And that's from a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Chesterfield. Regular or king size. They're much milder and best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 24th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of auto theft detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. We were at the main jail, and it was 8:14 a.m. when we got to the second floor, the interview room.
Sit down, Sloan.
Yeah. Right there.
You guys start pretty early in the morning, don't you?
Yeah, once in a while.
You got a cigarette?
Yeah, there you are.
Thanks. I never feel like I'm alive until I've had a cigarette in the morning. How about a match?
Here.
There's nothing like it, that first cigarette. All right, what's this all about?
You know that as well as we do. A few questions we want to ask.
All right, go ahead, ask.
What's your part in the setup?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it won't work, Sloan. We got the whole story from Summers.
Well, then what do you need from me?
Just like to check out a few things.
What do you mean you got the whole story from Summers? What did he say?
Told us everything he knows about the setup. And what he says, you're the key man. Everything goes through you.
He said that?
Yeah.
You believe him?
Got no reason not to. That's why we're here. Get your side of the story.
How much he tell you?
Said everything he knows.
Yeah, that figures. You get a guy with a yen like that, and as soon as the roof starts to drop, they spill their insides out. That's the trouble with doing business with hypes. You always run into it.
Yeah, hold on. Let's hear your side, huh?
Sure. I knew going in if you locked Summers up, you'd break. Just a matter of time before he started seeing things and talked all over the place.
Why don't you do a little of the same?
I got no choice. Where do you want me to start?
How about the beginning?
As good a place as any, I guess.
All right, who's the big gun in the setup?
Well, you're not going to believe
Well,
this.
why don't you try us?
I don't know who he is. I haven't got the slightest idea, and that's the truth.
You're asking us to buy the fact you work for a guy you don't know.
I don't care if you buy it or not. That's the way it is. I don't know who the big man is.
How'd he get your orders?
He calls me.
Where?
My place.
When?
When I got something for him.
How does he know?
We got a set time each day. He calls in. He tells me what he wants done. I tell him what's going on.
What happens if you want to talk to him when it's not the time?
Nothing. I got to wait.
How do you get paid?
He calls me and tells me where to go. I show up there, and the door's waiting.
All right, now you start at the beginning. Give us the whole story.
All right, I got in town about 6 months ago.
Where from?
Outside of Chicago.
All right.
I laid around town for a few days, and I get this rumble that maybe I can pick up a job.
Where'd you hear it?
Oh, just around. I couldn't tell you where it was. A word here, another one there. Just around.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I'm home one day, and the phone rings. I answer it, and the guy asked me if I wanted to go to work for him. I'm on my uppers, so I asked him what he wanted me to do, and he springs this car heist thing on me. I told him I wanted no part of it.
Yeah.
He kept on talking, kept telling me how it was such a sweet, clean racket, how we could work it without being tagged. Finally, I told him I might be willing to sit down and talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
He says no go. That he didn't want anybody to know who he was, and that went from me, too. He told me he'd swing the operation on me.
What do you mean, swing it?
Well, he said he'd tell me how to set it up, how to make it work, who to contact. Said he had the organization already, but he needed a man to take charge of the L.A. part of it. He told me that I was the guy he wanted.
Well, Sloan, how'd he happen to come to you?
I don't know. I did time when I was a kid for Grand Theft Auto. First time, I got off light.
Where'd you do the time?
New York State.
All right, go on.
Well, maybe he got a rumble about that. He knew that I was down. Maybe he figured that I was the guy to handle it for him. I don't know why. He just called.
Do you have any idea who this man on the phone was?
No. I thought about it a lot. I tried to come up with an answer, but there just wasn't any. At least none that I could find.
Might have been somebody you met back east.
I don't know. Could be. I got no way of knowing. The way the deal worked out, I didn't have any reason to get nosy. This guy really had it figured out like a charm. I still don't know how you tagged us. How about it? You tell me?
You know better than that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
All right, go ahead. What happened after you talked to this guy?
Well, I wasn't real anxious right off. I told him I'd have to think about it, you see.
Yeah.
Next day, he calls again. Told me he wanted to tell me the deal, lay it out for me. If I thought it was good, I could go along with it. Otherwise, we could call it quits. I was just about to get bounced out of my room, so I listened. We must have talked for about an hour.
Yeah?
That's when he laid it out for me. The way it looked, the plan couldn't miss. Wasn't anything he hadn't thought of all along the line. He had the leaks all plugged up tight, you see.
All right. How'd this deal work?
I thought Summers gave you the lineup.
Yeah, he did, but we'd like to hear it from you, all
sure
right?
You ain't trying to con me into something?
You said it yourself. You got no choice now, have you?
Well, the way that worked was smooth, real smooth. The boss, that's what I called him. He'd call me, tell me what kind of car he wanted. I'd get in touch with one of the boys and pass the order on, you see.
Yeah.
Hype would steal the car, call me.
Who?
Some hype would steal the car and call me right away, tell me where he had the car. Then the boss would call, and I'd tell him. He'd drive by, look at the car. If he okayed it, he'd call me, and I'd tell the fellow that sold it to get it rolling.
They drive it to Mexico, huh?
Yeah. First off, I'd meet him, give him enough money to get back here, though. And after that, they'd switch the plates in the car and then shove off.
Where'd you get the plates?
Oh, the boss would get them someplace. Then they'd be delivered to me. Always cold plates. I think he probably got them off of used car lots. I don't know, but that's the way it looked like to me. You see?
Yeah. What happened then?
Well, the guy drive the car straight through. He delivered the car to a contact down in Tijuana.
What about the payoff from Mexico? How'd they work that?
Well, that went through me, too. I'd get a call from the boss. He'd tell me where the meat was. I'd show up and pick up a paper bag with the narcotics.
That the way the stolen cars were paid for? Narcotics?
Yeah. Heroin was the best, so by the time we cut it down, it went a long way.
What'd you do with the stuff?
Well, some of it I'd use for paying off the hype that lifted the car, and the rest went on to the boss.
How'd you get it to him?
He'd call me, tell me where to leave it. Maybe an alley downtown, a telephone pole on Central. Once in a fountain right in front of City Hall. Every time it was a different place.
Yeah. Is it possible any of the others might know who he is?
I talked to him. None of them know. I don't think they're holding out.
Yeah. This boss, he ever say anything that could let you know where he was calling from?
No.
How about his voice? You get anything from that?
What do you mean?
You have an accent, something like that?
No, nothing. He talked just like you and me. There's one thing, though.
What's that?
He's been around. He knows the tricks. He knows about me, everything I've ever done. The way he talks, you know he knows all the rackets.
Mm-hmm. He ever sent you anything through the mail?
Oh, what do you mean, like with the postman?
That's right.
No. A couple of times he sent me a batch of plates to use on the cars, but they come by messenger.
One of the companies here?
No, just a guy. I asked them who sent them, but they couldn't tell me.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I ain't sure, but I really don't think they knew. It's always a different guy each time. Never the same one twice.
You got some of the plates around?
No, we used the last one on the car last night.
When does the boss usually send them to you?
Depends how many cars we've taken. He keeps track. When we're out of cold plates, another batch of them shows up. It depends on the cars, you see.
How about the other men working with you? The ones here in town? You give us a list of them?
If I do, it makes me a pretty big fink.
If you don't, it's going to make you big trouble.
I suppose so. There's nothing you guys can promise me for this, huh?
You know the answer to that, too. We can see that the district attorney's office knows about the help you gave us. That's all we can do.
It's better than nothing. Okay, I'll give you the names.
Now, when this goes to trial, we can figure you'll be a witness for the state?
Against who?
Well, this boss, whoever he is.
Sure, if you can get him. I don't think you will, though.
Is that right?
Sure, it stands to reason. I worked for the guy and never got to see him. He ain't going to want to see the police.
Well, he's a little like you, isn't he?
Huh?
He's got no choice. We got the list of names from the suspect, and then we checked with Captain Carl Shy, Narcotics Division. He assigned 2 men to work with us on the case. We got in touch with the Sheriff's Department and filled Sergeant Judge Shelton in on the developments. A call was put into Al Gayton at San Diego, and he said that he'd get in touch with the Mexican authorities and line up the cooperation we needed from them. The name of the contact in Tijuana was given to them, but they were unable to locate the suspect. We asked the Stats Office to make a new run on the M.O. of the auto thefts in an attempt to come up with a new lead on the head of the ring of thieves. They turned up 6 leads that were checked out. They netted us nothing. We got in touch with the State Highway Patrol, and we worked out a system to intercept any cars that might be stolen in the future by the same gang. The plan was that in the event we received a call regarding a stolen vehicle, we'd put it on the air with the heading of the code word Alex. This would alert all police officers between Los Angeles and the Mexican border. The men named for us by the suspect Harry Sloan were all taken into custody. Further interrogation netted us no new information. In the meantime, the leader of the gang had apparently succeeded in setting up a new group of thieves and was operating again. The thefts continued through the next month. During that time, all precautions were taken to keep the stolen cars from getting to the border, but the speed with which the gang operated made apprehending them almost impossible. The radio operation with patrol units along the highway was tried, but by the time the cars were reported stolen to us and we were able to get a broadcast out on them, they were already across the border. Thursday, July 30th, Frank and I checked into the office. I'll check the book. Right. Anything?
No, it's all here from Faye, that's all.
The skipper sure hacked about this thing, huh? Can you blame him?
No, I suppose not. He's got a lot of people leaning on him. I don't know, Joe. It's about time the brakes start falling on our side.
Well, we've been saying that for a long time, too. Doesn't seem to do much good. Even when we do nail the big gun, we're going to have to prove it, and that isn't going to be easy.
Yeah. The way he's got it worked out, it's going to be awful tough to build a case that'll stick.
Well, he doesn't handle the narcotics. He doesn't handle the money. All he does is okay the jobs.
Yeah, but there's got to be an outlet for the heroin. Well, where's he getting rid of it?
That's a good question. You know, we've been trying to come up with the answer a long time. No rumbles, informants don't know anything. I get it. Auto theft Friday. Yes, ma'am. Well, maybe we can help you. Yes, ma'am, huh? Well, yes. Well, could we meet you? Oh, no, ma'am. You won't be involved. Yo, what's that address again? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We'll be there. Oh, in about 10 minutes? What's that? No, ma'am. Just my partner. Yes, that's right. All right. See you then. Right. Goodbye. Well, maybe this is a break.
Who was it?
Woman. She wouldn't give us her name. She said that wasn't important. She wants us to meet her.
What about?
Something to do with used cars. 10:10 a.m. Frank and I left the office and drove to Hollywood to meet the woman who'd called in. She said that she wanted to meet us in one of the coffee shops along Vine Street. We drove out the new freeway to Hollywood Boulevard and then down to Vine Street. We parked the car and walked up to the coffee shop. The girl on the phone had refused to give us her name, so Frank and I had no way of knowing who she might be. She told me to take a booth at the back of the restaurant and that she'd find us. Frank and I sat down and ordered a cup of coffee, and we waited. There was no sign of the caller. 11 a.m. She still hadn't shown up. We were about ready to leave when a tall woman, well-dressed, in her middle 30s, came in. She stopped at the door, looked around the place, and then she headed for our booth.
Joe.
Yeah, it might be. No, she's heading for the next booth.
Are you from the police?
What?
Are you a policeman?
No, what?
Never mind. Are you from the cops?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm the one who called you and told you to meet me here.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Joe Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
You got some way to prove it?
Ma'am?
Prove that you're cops. I don't want to talk to nobody who ain't cops.
Yes, ma'am. Here's my ID card.
Oh, yeah. That's you, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
How about you?
Yes, ma'am. Here's mine.
Oh, yeah. Oh, say, that's a real nice picture. You put on some weight, haven't you?
Would you like to sit down, ma'am? We can get started on this.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Now, what was your name?
You don't need that. It doesn't make any difference.
All right. We order you something, maybe?
Yeah, I'd like a Coke.
All right. I'll get it, Joe.
You make sure it's a real Coke, though. Genuine.
All right, ma'am.
I'm sorry I'm late. I got tied up.
That's all right, ma'am. I wonder if we can get started.
Well, I was across the street, waiting by the radio station.
Yes, ma'am.
Waiting for that singer. What's his name? You know who I mean. The cute one with the curly hair. Oh, I never can think of his name. Anyway, I was waiting for him to come out. He's doing a show over there, you know. He's a wonderful voice, and he's so cute.
Now, what's this all about, this thing you want to tell us?
Crazy kids and their autograph books. I couldn't even get near him. Miserable.
I wonder if we could get down to business here, ma'am. You said on the phone that you could give us some information?
Yeah, I think I can help you out. It seems to me that you might want to talk to this man.
What's his name?
Well, maybe I ought to tell you about him first, and then if you want to know his name, I can tell you that.
All right, ma'am. Go ahead. Here's your Coke, ma'am.
Oh, thanks. That's good. It's cold.
Do you want to go on?
On?
Yes, ma'am. About the man?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's this fella, and he's got an office in the building where I work.
Where would that be?
A corner of Hollywood and Dick Street. Right on the corner. 9th floor. Elevator's always out of order.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, he's got this office, and I see him a lot. You know, at the elevator? Maybe down at the magazine rack in the lobby. Anyway, I see him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, about a week ago, he asked me for a date. Just like that. Come up to me while I was looking at TV Stars Parade. That's a magazine.
Uh-huh.
All about television stars. Where they work, what they're like. All interesting things like that. Like, do they like garlic and what kind of knot do they use in their ties? All interesting things like that.
So this man asked you for a date, huh?
Came up just like brass and asked me out. Well, first off, I was kind of flattered. You know, he's pretty nice. Drives a nice car and all, but I told him I couldn't go out with him. And then I told him that I thought he should be ashamed of himself. I told him he should be ashamed of himself.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. See, I knew he was married. Nice little wife, real cute. I saw her a couple of times around the building. Lately, she hasn't done too well. She's real cute. Imagine him asking me out and him a married man.
Well, yes, ma'am, but why do you think that the police might be interested in him?
I'm coming to that. That was good. Well, I kind of checked around, you know, to see what this guy did and what business he was in.
Yes, ma'am.
He's in the used car business, sells old cars.
I see.
That's it. Sells used cars in an office building. Not even a lot. Nothing. There's a glass door.
Is there any lettering on it?
Yeah, I thought about that, too, but there isn't. No, that's all he's got. Just this little tiny office desk and a couple of chairs. Glass door.
Well, ma'am, there's nothing illegal in that, you know.
Oh, yeah, but he doesn't have a license. No, sir, he doesn't have a license.
Beg pardon?
I work for a lawyer. Alphabetical filing, G to O. I asked my boss if you didn't have to have some kind of license to sell cars, and my boss says you do. This man doesn't have one. Goes out and buys these old cars and then fixes them up and sells them, and he doesn't have a license. Well, not only that, the men he sells the cars to. Oh.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because I do, that's why. Always come in the office, and they sit there and talk, and then they leave. I get in the hall sometimes, and they laugh, and they're real spooky guys, real spooky.
Well, what's the matter, ma'am?
Man that just came in. The one with the kind of blonde hair, you see him?
Yes, ma'am. What about him?
Isn't that... Oh, what's his name? I know it as well as I know my own. He stars in all those space things, you know, like the Saturn Saga and the Martian Maniac that was on last week, and this fellow, that one that just came in. Well, he had on this kind of suit all covered with lights, a space suit. He was so cute.
Yes, ma'am. Well, if you'll tell us the name of the man in your building, we'll check on him.
Oh, there's more to the story.
Ma'am?
There's more. I'm not finished.
All right, would you like to sit down and go on?
Oh, yeah. Well, day before yesterday, I'm standing by the elevator, and one of this man's customers come out of the office. He walked over the elevator. He reached into his pocket and took out a cigarette, kept the pack up here in the pocket up here. You know, here, with the handkerchief.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when he pulled the pack out, he dropped a little package. Fell right on the floor, and he didn't see it. Right away, he got into the elevator and went down, and I went over and picked it up. A little tiny thing. Got it right here in my purse. I was going to give it to the man, and then I thought maybe I better come to you. I saw a picture of a thing like this in the newspaper once. Here it is. Well, you just look at that. There, you see?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it, Joe?
Heroin. 11:40 a.m. We continued to talk to the woman. She gave us the name of the man who ran the used car agency in her building, Ralph Holland. She also gave us a description of him and a description of the man she'd seen drop the narcotics. We went back to the office and checked the name through R&I. Holland had a record listing one arrest on suspicion of violation of the State Narcotic Act. The date of the arrest was August 17th, 1937. He'd been released for lack of evidence. We checked the name in the phone book and came up with a business and a residence address. He lived with his wife in a large tract out in the San Fernando Valley. 1:15 p.m. Frank and I drove out to talk with Holland's neighbors. They told us that the family was known and respected throughout the area. None of them could recount any actions that might cause suspicion. They told us the Hollands had lived in the house for the past 5 years, but that Mrs. Holland had said that the family was planning to move into town. From the neighbors, we found out that Mrs. Holland was a semi-invalid and rarely left the house. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on the house, and then we drove back into Hollywood to talk with Holland's business associate. From them, we got the same story. Ralph Holland was a respected member of the community and was a member of several civic clubs. None of his friends could tell us much about his business activities. We did learn, however, that many of his friends couldn't figure how the family could live at the scale that they did. They said that Holland had a good business, but they couldn't see how he could afford the new cars that he drove or the new house he was planning to move into. 5:46 p.m., we checked back into the office and talked with Captain Nelson. Well, it should take us a couple of days to get the information back from the banks.
Yeah. In the meantime, we got a lot of walking to do.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Well, Skipper said we could have all the help we needed.
You get in touch with narcotics?
Yeah, I called him this morning. They'll give us a hand.
Yeah, rough duty, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, we figure the guy's guilty, looks good for it. Now the big job.
Yeah?
Got to prove it.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes.
Chesterfield quality is highest. Here's the proof.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield. First with premium quality and best for you.
Try Chesterfield today. Regular or king size.
Friday, July 31st, the legwork started. 2 teams of men were assigned from auto theft detail to help us, and narcotics sent 2 more teams to work with us. For the next 3 weeks, Ralph Holland was kept under 24-hour surveillance. A stakeout was maintained on his house and on his office. His business records were checked. From these, we came up with an estimate of what the suspect's income was. Then we began to check his expenditures. As a result, we found that he had control of at least $250,000 that his business could not account for. Everyone who visited the Hollands, either at their home or at his office, was checked on. Among his visitors, we found several known narcotic dealers. The auto thefts continued, but by now the code system had begun to work. From July 31st to August 25th, 16 cars were stolen that we attributed to Holland's operation. All of them were recovered between Los Angeles and the Mexican border. All of the drivers of the cars were taken into custody, but none of them could give us any information to aid us in obtaining a conviction. During that time, Holland didn't make any attempt to handle any narcotics. A dictograph had been placed in his office, and all of his conversations were monitored, but nothing incriminating was said. We got the address of the new home the suspect had bought, and a complete set of listening equipment was installed there. From the time the couple moved into the house, their conversations were monitored 24 hours a day. The recordings were played for Captain Nelson, Captain Shy of Narcotics Division, and for the men from the district attorney's office. They agreed that there wasn't enough evidence to issue an indictment. Friday, August 28th, Frank and I checked into the listening post. Well, you might as well sit down, Frank. We got a long night.
Gonna be better with a speaker.
What?
Fellow's downtown putting a speaker, see? Earphones get too heavy.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to Guy Anderson. He was out here. Said by the time you sit with those things on your head for a couple of hours, feels like somebody shot your ears full of Novocaine.
Yeah.
Speaker's better.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Easier, too.
Well, better turn it on.
Yeah.
Holland come home yet? Just walked in before we got here. Here they come. Sounds like they're in the living room, huh? Yeah.
Want to take a trip with me?
Where to?
Oh, I thought maybe we'd drive down south.
Yeah, I figured I'd go to Mexico.
Oh, I got it, honey. And anybody else to say it. Things been rough lately. Been picking the boys up as fast as I can find them.
Why did you call it quits? You've made enough.
Just about to do that, honey. That's the last trip.
I'm glad of that. Honey, I don't like it. Maybe I'm just getting jittery, but I swear there have been men watching the house.
Here. Thank you, Ben. Oh, you're just getting jumpy, honey. There isn't anybody watching and anybody who knows about us.
Well, I'm glad you think that. I'm not too sure anymore.
There's nothing to worry about. We're clean. This is the last trip. After that, we call it quits, okay?
I'll be glad when it's over.
You go with me. That'll be good for you. Get out of the house, see the country. Get you over this case of nerves you got.
It might be kind of nice for that.
Sure it would. Best thing in the world for you. See some new things.
When do you figure to go?
Oh, I'm going to pick up the car in the morning early. I thought we'd get away about 8. We can stay down there for a couple of days and get back Tuesday. Take our time. Have a few laughs.
Who's going to pick up the car?
A kid named Jimmy. We're going to meet him halfway, just outside of Del Mar. I'll take the car from there.
Well, like I said, I'll be glad when it's over.
I know how you feel, honey. I give you my word. Tomorrow, that's the end of it.
Well, let's hope he's not kidding. The following morning at 6:30 a.m., Frank and I, along with the men from Narcotics Division, were parked down the street from the Holland home. At 8:36 a.m., we saw the couple come out of the house and get into Ralph Holland's car. They drove out to Sepulveda Boulevard and they turned south. All units of the state police had been notified to watch for the car. Members of the sheriff's department were stationed along the road just outside Del Mar. If we could take Holland into custody while he was in the possession of a stolen car and confront him with the stories of the two suspects we picked up earlier, George Summers and Harry Sloan, we felt that there was a good chance that he might confess. In any event, we'd be able to bring him to trial on a grand theft auto charge. The meet was made with the man who'd stolen the car as scheduled, and Holland started to drive south to the border. Men from the sheriff's department took the thief into custody, and we followed Holland. About 4 minutes later, he pulled the car over to the side of the road in front of a small coffee stand. He and his wife got out of the car, and they went into the place. We drove by, and then we doubled back and parked about 100 yards up the road from the stand. All right, let's go. The boy should be around back by now. Yeah. All right, come on. Down at the end of the counter. Yeah. You Ralph Holland?
Yes, what do you want?
You driving that green Buick out there?
Yeah, so what?
Wonder if we can see the registration papers on the car.
What for?
Police officers. We'd like to see the registration.
What are you doing to him? You got no right to hit him like that. We weren't doing anything. You got no right.
Come on, Holland. On your feet.
You got play a little rough, don't you?
We didn't call it. You did. All right, hands are back of you. Stand still. How about it? He's clean.
You guys sure got a lot of nerve to come in here and beat him up like this.
Who tipped you? Who think out?
Hey, don't worry about it.
Somebody had to, but there wasn't anybody that knew. Nobody at all. How'd you find out?
All right, come on.
It's perfect. All the way around. Where'd I go sour? When'd I make the mistake?
When you started.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 14th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Next time you buy cigarettes, I wish you'd kind of keep us in mind and remember what we've told you about Chesterfield. First, with premium quality, highest quality, in both regular and king size. You smoke a couple of packs and you'll see what I mean. Chesterfields are milder with a wonderful taste. And you want to remember this. Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy. See for yourself, won't you?
Ralph P. Holland was tried and convicted on 12 counts grand theft auto. His wife, Mildred R. Holland, was tried and convicted of 1 count grand theft auto. 7 other members of the gang were apprehended and brought to trial on the same charges. They all received sentences as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 or more than 10 years. 4 suspects were apprehended and tried on charges of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony. They were convicted and received terms as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1, nor more than 6 years. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Stacey Harris, Virginia Gregg, Vic Perrin. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names. Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, first with premium quality and best for you. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A man has been shot and critically wounded. There's no trace of the suspect. Your job, find him. Here is Chesterfield's record with smokers, and important to you.
No adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report of a doctor who has been examining a group of Chesterfield smokers for a full year and 2 months, as a part of a program supervised by a responsible independent research laboratory. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality. Chesterfield. First choice of young America. And that's from a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Chesterfield, regular or king size. They're much milder and best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, April 26th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. I was on my way back to the office, and it was 11:44 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide. Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Anybody call?
Yeah, Lopey called. Wants to know if he left his overshoes.
No, I didn't see him. It's quit raining anyway. What are you doing there?
Just a minute, Joe.
What's the scale for?
The needle's bent.
Now, what are you doing?
Here, weighing my stuff.
Your what?
Weighing my stuff.
Oh, yeah. I guess everybody ought to know what his stuff weighs, huh?
Yeah. Let's see. My gun. Better take the bullets out first.
What are you doing that for?
Weigh them separate, Joe. Keep track.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the bullets. Oh, Huh. Handcuffs.
Frank, did anybody ever ask you about all this?
And my bullet clip.
Look, I'm a member of the club here, too. What's this all about?
Pencils?
4?
Yeah, pressed kind of hard.
Yeah.
Other stuff in my wallet. Change. Keys. Boy, I wonder my feet kill me.
What?
6 pounds, 2.5 ounces. That's what I carry, Joe. Working night's got a flashlight, too. That's good for another pound.
You figure that's what makes your feet hurt, huh?
Sure.
Yeah. 6 pounds, 2 ounces. How much do you weigh, Frank?
Any calls?
Come on, how much?
Joe, I get that all day from Faye. Never thought I'd get it from you.
Yeah, it's a hot shot. I'll get it.
What do you got?
Shooting on East Brando. 11:45 p.m. We swung out of the City Hall garage and headed south on Main Street. The streets were still wet after the rain. Code 3, red light and siren. And even with that, driving a fast car is no picnic. You can be wrong at every corner. Big buildings to block off the sound of your siren. Cars to shield the red light from oncoming motorists. It's no fun. There'd been a shooting and we had to get there. As Frank and I swung around the last streetcar on Main Street and picked up Berendo, we heard the police radio operator dispatching ambulance G13 to the address we were headed for. We didn't know what direction the ambulance would come from, so for the next few blocks we drove with added caution, knowing that our siren would keep us from hearing theirs. 5 blocks ahead through the mist, we could see the red lights of a police car parked at the curb. A radio car in the area had gotten the call and answered it immediately. It was 11:52 p.m. when we pulled up in front of 1981 East Berendo. The large house was dark. 2 neighborhood women stood in the driveway and directed us to the back of the house where we found the officers from Unit 1A6. We checked with them and got the information that they'd come up with. They suggested that they canvass the immediate area for any information on the assailant. Frank and I went in through the back door of the house. The victim lay on the floor. He was unconscious and bleeding profusely. His head was held in the lap of another man.
Are you the doctor?
No, sir. We're police officers. The ambulance is on the way here.
If I could just stop the bleeding. It's his chest.
Do you know who did this?
No.
Has he been conscious at all since you've been here?
Just for a second.
Did he say anything?
Well, I heard the shot and came right over. He was laying here on the floor, right here. Poor guy.
Yes, sir. Did he say anything?
Help me. That's all he said. Help me. I didn't know what to do. I got this towel from the sink and tried to stop the bleeding. This and my handkerchief, that's all I had. Can't do much, but I had to try. I had to keep pressing. That's all I could think of. Keep pressing. Try to stop it.
Yes, sir. Do you feel all right, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm all right. Got to help him.
Here, let me get in there and take care of that.
All right, come on, sir. Get under it.
Okay, got it, Joe.
All right. Come on, sir. Get up. That's all right. You'll handle this.
The excitement. Can't seem to get my breath.
Something we can get for you?
No, I'll be all right. I think I'll get a drink of water.
I'd rather you wouldn't touch that glass, sir.
Huh? Oh, yeah, fingerprints. Well, I can wait. Oh, say, I did touch that towel. Hope it didn't hurt anything. Didn't mean to.
No, sir, I don't think so. What's your name?
Paul West. I live right next door, right across the driveway, gray house.
Uh-huh. Wonder if you could tell us what happened.
Sure, I want to help all I can. I live right next door, and I was the first one here. Anything I can do, I want to help.
Yes, sir.
I've known Charlie for, I guess it's maybe 40 years. Long time.
Charlie, that's the man's name here?
Yes, Charles Stahl.
How you doing, Frank?
That's pretty bad. I don't know.
Would you tell us what happened here?
Well, it was right after Charlie left my place. That's when I heard the noise.
What noise, West?
I was out on my porch putting out the cans, getting the boxer ready when I heard the noise. First off, I thought Charlie was doing the same thing, getting the cans ready.
Well, what kind of a noise?
Like he dropped the box. I know now that wasn't it.
Joe?
Just a minute, West. Yeah.
I think he's coming around.
Is he coming too? You going to say anything? Who shot him?
All right, just a minute.
What's his name again?
Stahl.
Mr. Stahl. Mr. Stahl.
Maybe you talk to me. He knows me. We're friends. Let me talk to him.
Wait right there, will you, West?
I just wanted to help.
All right, stay right there.
Mr. Stahl, we want to help you. Can you tell us who shot you?
Hey, what you saying? Is he giving you the name?
Hold it, West. Just a minute. How about it, Frank?
He's dead.
Did he say anything?
Yeah. Not much help.
Huh?
Asked me not to shoot him again.
It was a couple of minutes before midnight when Charles Stahl died in Frank's arms. According to the next-door neighbor, Paul West, the victim was 55 years old. He was not married, and he lived in the big house on Berendo by himself. The ambulance crew returned to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital after making out a DOA report, and the coroner's office was asked to pick up the body. 12 minutes later, coroner's deputies Maxwell and Martinez arrived. Before the murdered man's body was removed, the crew from the crime lab photographed the scene, and Frank and I signed the property receipt for the money and the personal effects found on the body. We asked the crime lab to check a .32 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver found on the floor under the kitchen stove. There was one empty cartridge in the cylinder. We put in a call to gun records, but we found nothing on the gun. A call to R&I on the victim of the shooting turned up nothing. Latent fingerprints found nothing on the murder weapon. The crime lab crew found no footprints in the ground near the house, but they did find several marks of tire tracks and one good impression left in the moist dirt in the alley behind the house. A plaster cast was made of the imprint, and it was returned to the office to be booked as evidence. We checked with the officers in Unit 1A6, but they said that in canvassing the neighborhood, they'd been unable to come up with any new leads. 12:21 a.m. We checked back into the house, and we talked to the neighbor, Paul West.
What kind of a job did Stahl have?
Owned a print shop, Stahl Press, over on the east side.
Was he in business by himself?
What do you mean?
Or did he have any partners?
No, Charlie owned it right out. Had the pink slip, you might say.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us the address?
Sure. Biggest print shop on the east side. Printed just about everything. Posters, display cards, things like that. He gave me some cards last Christmas. Here, take a look. That's my name, embossed.
Yes, sir.
Did it himself.
Mm-hmm. That's very nice, sir.
Can I have that back, please?
Oh, sure. Here.
Embossed.
Anybody in the shop with him? Any employees?
Well, there's the Becker kids, Pete and Alvin.
They work in the shop, do they?
Yeah, I've been with him. I guess it's been about 5 years.
How's he get along with them, would you know?
Fine. I never heard about any trouble. I've been kind of friends with the family. Charlie was pretty fond of them.
Did he have any personal enemies, maybe because of the business?
No, not that I know of.
Uh-huh. How long did you say you've known Stahl?
Been about 40 years. We grew up together.
I see.
His father and mine built these houses at the same time. Charlie and I went to school together. Belonged to the same club. We were soldiers together. Served in the 146th Field Artillery in the war.
Was that the last war, sir?
Oh, no, the big one. First World War.
Oh, I see.
Came back and we lived right here, side by side, all this time. We've been friends, Charlie and me. Good friends. You've got to catch the person that did this. You've got to get him.
You said earlier that Stahl had been over to your house tonight.
Yes, that's right.
Did he have any special reason for the visit?
Well, he didn't need a reason. Charlie was always welcome. Always.
Well, yes, sir, we understand.
Of course, tonight's Sunday. We had a game.
Sir?
Bridge. Always play bridge on Sunday night. Never miss.
Well, what time did he get to your house?
Same time as always, right after supper.
What time's that, sir?
Right after 7:30. We were just finishing supper when he came in. Charlie sat down, had dessert and coffee with us.
Uh-huh.
Rice pudding with raisins. Charlie had 2 dishes. Then we started to play bridge.
Oh, I see. Now, who else was there?
You mean the game?
Yeah.
Oh, just Rose and Paula. Rose is my wife and Paula's my daughter.
Anything unusual happened tonight?
Just once.
Yeah, what was that?
Well, a bit of grand slam in spades and made it. Even with Rose. 7 spades.
Well, that's not exactly what we mean, Wes.
Pretty unusual.
Yes, sir, but did anything happen with Stahl?
Sure. He almost hit the ceiling when we made it.
Got pretty mad, did he?
Sure. Since we've been playing, most he ever did was make a little slam.
Mm-hmm.
He went right home after that. I guess that's when he went out to empty the cans. Anyway, that's when I heard the noise.
That was the shot, sir.
It must have been. I didn't know it at the time, but I guess that's what it was.
What'd you do after you heard the shot?
Well, now, at the time, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe Charlie had fallen and hurt himself.
Mm-hmm.
I looked over at his place, but there wasn't any lights on. I went out the curb with a box of cans. Came back, and I didn't see Charlie, so I walked over.
I see.
I called to him and asked if he was all right. Didn't get no answer, so I came in. Found him right on the floor, where he was when you came in.
You're the one who put in the call, is that right?
Yeah, I called the operator and told her to get an ambulance right over that Charlie had been shot. Told her to send a policeman.
Now, what time was it when Stahl left your house?
Oh, it must have been about 11:15 or so. Earlier than usual. We always play almost to midnight. I guess Charlie got miffed about the grand slam I made, and then Paula kidded him about the woman.
What woman is that?
Oh, it wasn't anything. I went out and looked. Nobody there.
Sir?
A couple of times Charlie thought he heard a woman coughing outside the window by his house. I went over at the window, looked out there, but there wasn't anybody there.
Well, did you hear this coughing?
No, not really. After Charlie started talking about it, I thought I did, but when I went out to look, there wasn't anybody there. His imagination, that's all. He was mad because of the slam.
Well, did you hear anything at all when you were out and back?
Huh?
Well, when you went into Stahl's house, did you hear anybody around? A car, maybe? Something like that?
No, not a soul.
Wes, could somebody have gone out the front of the house when you came in the back?
Wouldn't seem it could be. I'd have heard him if they did.
Well, then you'd say that whoever shot Stahl wasn't in the house when you went in, is that it?
Pretty sure about that. Of course, they might have left before I went in.
Sir?
Well, I'd already took the box of cans out front after I heard the noise. If there's anybody in the house, they could have gotten out then.
But you didn't see anybody, did you?
No, nobody at all.
Do you know if Stahl has any relatives in Los Angeles?
No.
He hasn't, huh?
Hasn't got any place, none at all. Always kind of worried him.
Why is that?
Well, he used to say he didn't have any folks to leave his things to. The house, print shop.
Mm-hmm.
He made a will, though. All legal with a seal and all. Official. He used to talk to me about it.
I see. You know who the beneficiary was, will you?
Not now.
What?
Well, I knew who it was, but he said he was going to change it. Said he was going to put a new name on.
Well, did he say whose?
Nope. Just said I'd be surprised.
We looked through the victim's desk for the will. In one of the bottom drawers, we found a locked tin box. In a box of paper clips, we found a key that fit. In the top liner of the box, there was a Purple Heart ribbon and an American Victory Medal from the First World War. In the bottom of the box, there were several government bonds and the will. In it, he left the house and the rest of his possessions to a Mrs. Margaret Becker. The print shop and the business he left to Mrs. Becker's sons, Peter and Alvin. The will was dated 3 years previously. On a separate piece of paper, we found an address for a Mrs. Margaret Becker, the Lone Star Motel on Sepulveda Boulevard. 12:40 a.m. We affixed the public administrator's seal, which the coroner's deputy had left with us, to the door of the victim's house. We talked with the wife and daughter of the neighbor, Paul West. They confirmed the story he'd given us. On the way to talk to the Becker woman, we stopped and called the office. They checked the name through R&I, but they came up with no identification. We called Sergeant J. Allen at the crime lab, and he told us that the tire marks found in the rear of the victim's house were made by 3 B.F. Goodrich tires and 1 truck tire. He said that the cast they'd made was of the truck tire, as it was the only one they could lift, and that it was made by the left front wheel. There was a car parked in front of the manager's cottage. The registration listed Margaret Becker as the owner. Legal the same. We checked it.
Motor's cold.
Yeah. Tires don't match.
Well, nice try.
Yeah. Let's go. I get it.
Late.
Yeah.
1:15. Probably asleep.
What's the matter? Can't you read? Sign says no vacancy. That means full up. N-O, that means no. Waking somebody at this hour?
Yes, ma'am.
And don't ask me if I know someplace where you can stay because I don't. Good night.
Just a minute, Miss Becker.
How do you know my name?
Police officers.
Well, what do you want around here? I run a clean place, no trouble, license all paid up, nothing wrong.
We'd like to talk to you.
What about?
You know a man named Charles Stahl?
What are you asking that for?
We'd like to know.
And I want to know why you're asking. What's this all about? Anything wrong with Charlie? That why you're out here?
Yes, ma'am.
What's wrong?
It was pretty serious.
Well, go ahead. You can tell me.
Well, he's dead, Miss Becker.
Come in.
Thank you.
What's the matter, Margaret? Who are these fellas? Who are you? What are you doing here?
They're policemen.
Well, we don't need you. We got the whole thing cleaned up. We took care of it ourselves. Nobody sent for you. We took care of him.
No, Daddy. They're here about Charles.
Charlie Stoll?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Charlie here? Well, where is he?
He's not here, Daddy. Something's happened to him.
What?
He's dead.
Dead? Charlie?
Yes.
Well, how did it happen? An accident?
No, sir.
Oh, poor Charlie Stoll. He's a nice boy. Too bad. I thought you was here about the fellow number 8, the loud one.
What's that, sir?
Man from Texas came in tonight pretty drunk. We had to take him in. Daddy put him to bed. He was pretty drunk.
Heavy, too.
That's what he thought you were out here for.
Couldn't even get out of his car. Margaret had the pocket for him. Loud, real drunk. Wore his pants inside his boots.
What was it you wanted to see me about?
There's a few questions we'd like to ask you.
About Charles?
Yes, ma'am. When was the last time you saw him?
Must have been a couple of weeks ago.
I saw him last week, April 22nd. Went fishing down at the pier.
Miss Becker, what was your relationship with Stahl?
Good friends, that's all. We knew each other almost all our lives. I used to live next door to him. Went through school together.
I always thought they were going to get married. Charlie was a good boy.
You see much of him lately?
No, not too much. I've been busy here with Daddy, and Charlie's had other things to do.
Moved next door to him on December 14th. Exactly 42 years ago, come winter.
You know if he had any enemies, ma'am?
No, can't think of anyone who didn't like Charlie.
Didn't catch anything at the pier. Bad bait.
You've been home all evening, have you?
Yeah. Why'd you ask that?
Well, it's just routine.
You think I had something to do with it, that it?
No, ma'am, we don't.
Pinheads, that's what you need.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Pinhead anchovies, that's what you need for pier fishing.
You say it's routine, but I don't like you coming in here, waking us up with all these questions. We've had a bad night, that drunk coming in here. We've been on the go ever since then.
A few years ago, we used to be able to get a lot of pinheads. Not anymore.
You want to make any accusations, you talk to Paul West. You just talk to him. Try your routine questions there.
Paul West?
Yeah, Charlie's neighbor. He's never liked Charlie, never. Anyone hurt Charlie, it was Paul.
Why do you say that, Mrs. Becker?
Years ago, Charlie was sweet on Paul's sister. On the way back from the beach one night, there was an accident, and Paul's sister was killed. Never forgave Charlie. Always held him to blame.
Well, why was that, Miss Becker?
Charlie was driving. Paul hated Charles for it. Now the thing with the daughter. Paul didn't like that either. Somebody did something to Charlie. You routine the man next door. You talk to Paul West. Now get out of here. I want to get some sleep. If you got any more questions, you come back in the morning, and I'll talk to you then. You get out of here now.
Yes, ma'am. But what did you mean, the thing with her West's daughter?
All right. I'll tell you that, then you've got to get out of here.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple of months ago, Paula came home. Divorced her husband and moved home. Right away, Charlie got sweet on her. Paul didn't like it. Didn't like it at all.
Did he ever say anything to Stahl about it?
You bet he did. They had a lot of arguments, a lot of them. You talk to Paul West. He's the one you got to talk to. Now, good night.
We'll be back in the morning, ma'am.
I'll be here. Don't worry. I'll talk to you then.
I'm going fishing tomorrow. They're getting pinheads now.
There's a new one, huh? West's daughter.
Yeah. Better check it out.
Hold it a minute.
Huh?
Let's take a look back at the carport here. There it is, a Texas license plate.
Yeah. I'll check the motor.
How about it?
Radiator's warm. How about the wheels?
3 Goodrich tires and a truck tire.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes.
Chesterfield quality is highest. Here's the proof.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield. First with premium quality and best for you.
Try Chesterfield today. Regular or king size.
The information we'd gotten from the crime lab gave us the make of the tires that had left the imprints in back of the victim's house. 3 of the tires had been identified as being of Goodrich make. The 4th was a truck tire. The car we'd found in the carport of cabin number 8 had tires that matched the description. 1:26 a.m. We went back to talk to Margaret Becker.
I'd like to know just what this is all about. Why you're snooping around asking questions. Now, why don't you come right on out with it? Come on, you think I had something to do with Charlie being dead, isn't that it?
No, ma'am, we told you before. This is just a routine investigation. We're trying to get the facts here.
You still haven't told us about Charlie. Was he killed?
Yes, ma'am.
You think I did it?
We didn't say that.
Not in so many words you didn't, but that's what you meant. You found the will. That's what made you think it was me, isn't that it?
You knew about the will, didn't you?
Certainly I knew about it. Charles told me when he had it drawn up. Said he didn't have anybody else who wanted to see that me and the boys were taken care of.
Too bad about Charlie Stahl. He was a good boy. He's going to take care of Margaret.
He ever say anything to you about changing the will?
Yes. Told me about it the last time I saw him. Had lunch together, and he told me then.
Tell you what changes he was going to make?
No, not right out. Didn't have to. I knew. I could tell. The way he's been acting lately, I could tell.
So could I.
Well, what do you mean, the way he's been acting? Was there anything wrong?
Well, this thing with Paula. Told you about that. Charlie's been acting like a fool, falling all over her, gushing sweet talk. Silly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she had him in a trance. Her just 25 and him 55. Talk about spring and winter. Well, that was them.
How'd Paula feel about this?
How'd you expect her to feel? She thought that Charlie'd leave her the money, house, everything. She went right along with it, real brazen.
Sir?
Yeah?
You said earlier that you thought your daughter and Mr. Stahl might get married. Is that right?
You better did. They always been in love.
Daddy, that's not true.
Well, it is true. I'm your father now. You show a little respect. After that no-good Becker walked out on Maggie, she and Charlie started to see each other again. Went real nice. Then Paula come into town, and Charlie Stahl took up with her.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Stahl made out his will so that everything went to Margaret and the kids. Then he decided he'd change it.
You knew about the will, too, huh?
Sure, I was a friend of Charlie's. We used to go fishing all the time, talk about things. I told him that he was wrong to even think of changing his will. I told him that it was wrong.
What time did you say that car from Texas got in, ma'am?
I told you, about 10:15.
Well, ma'am, is it possible that somebody could have taken the car out without you knowing about it?
Hey, wait a minute, Margaret. That ain't right.
What?
It wasn't that late. It was only about 8 when he come in. I remember because I was in bed at 8:30. I put him to bed and then come back and went to bed myself. I wanted to get some sleep going fishing in the morning.
You pretty sure about the time, are you?
Well, you bet. I remember because I got in bed and turned on the radio. Listened to that radio program about the detective. Fell asleep before the end. Never did find out who stole the jewels and did the murder.
What was your daughter doing when you came back?
Just sitting there. She went out to put the car away, and I went to bed.
Mm-hmm. How long was she outside?
I don't know, a few minutes, I guess.
Can you tell us a little closer than that?
Not very well. I told you I went to sleep. I didn't hear her come in.
Miss Becker, I wonder if you'd get dressed, please. We'd like to talk to you downtown.
What for?
Well, we have a report from our crime lab. They found some tire tracks in back of Stahl's house tonight. They were fresh tracks. They'd been made since it stopped raining. Those tracks match the car you got parked back there.
And you think I drove the car over to Charlie's?
Well, we'd like to talk about it.
Why? Why'd I do a thing like that? Why'd I want to kill Charlie?
Maybe because he was going to cut you out of his will. Looks like a pretty good motive.
Oh, you two are out of your minds.
All right, ma'am. We'll lay it out for you.
You better do that. Making accusations you can't back up.
The way the evidence looks, we got a pretty good case here. The way it looks, you took the car and you drove it over to Stahl's. He was next door playing cards, so you waited in the kitchen for him to come back. A couple of times you coughed while you were waiting. He heard you. He came over to the window to see who it was. Because it was dark, he couldn't see you.
I haven't heard a story like that since I stopped reading fairy tales.
You came home and you killed him. Then you heard Mr. West next door. He came over to see what it was. You went out the back way to the car that you'd parked in the alley, and you drove it back here.
That's the way it looks to you, is it?
Yes, ma'am, that's the way it looks.
You figure she killed Charlie Stahl?
Yes, sir.
You're going to arrest Margaret?
We want to talk to her about it.
Oh, going to take her down to jail, huh?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll go and put my clothes on.
No, that isn't necessary for you to go with her, sir.
Well, she's not going.
What?
I killed Charlie Stahl.
Daddy.
You killed him?
Yep. Got tired of how I was treating Mark. Got good and tired. Him talking about how he was going to change the will. I couldn't let him do that. I just killed him and drove the car over and did it.
What time was all this?
Huh?
What time did you go over to Stahl's?
Right after the fellow from Texas. I guess it was about 9.
What time did you kill him?
Oh, must have been 10:30 or so. I had to wait for him to get through playing cards. I had to wait for him to come home.
Why are you doing this, Daddy?
Why am I doing it? I said somebody's got to take care of the kids. Somebody's got to take care of you. I'm an old man. I ain't much use to anybody.
All right, come on, Miss Becker. You want to get dressed now?
She ain't the one. I did it. I killed Charlie Stahl. I already confessed. Why don't you believe me? Why don't you arrest me now? I did it.
No, I'm afraid not. You got the times a little mixed up. Stahl wasn't killed at 10:30.
No, he's just trying to help me, but he doesn't have to. Him and me were both here all night. Neither one of us left. I was in bed and asleep at midnight.
What did he say then?
What?
Why do you think Stahl was killed around midnight?
I didn't say that.
He said that you were home and in bed by midnight, didn't he?
Just a figure of speech. I think I've talked enough to you. I don't have to say anything more. I'm going to see a lawyer about it. You got no right.
I'm the one that did it. I'm the one.
Why'd you kill him, Mrs. Becker?
You want to tell us?
Get old, nobody believes you.
How about it, Miss Becker?
I'll get dressed.
You did kill him then, huh?
Yes, I did it. Wasn't because of the money, though. You got to believe that. Wasn't because of the money.
Yeah.
I loved him. Deep in my heart, I loved him. Always did. Even when we were kids. I thought he was going to marry me. Then he met Paula.
You shouldn't have done it, Margaret.
I loved him and he didn't want me. He wanted Paula. You know what that's like?
What's that?
Love somebody and them not want you. Begins to eat at you. Pretty soon you can't stand it anymore. That's why I did it, not for the money, you understand. I just wanted him.
Yeah.
Just him, that's all I wanted. Not his money, you believe that? I never wanted his money, I just wanted him. You believe that?
Well, it really doesn't make any difference, does it?
How do you mean?
You didn't get either one.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 6th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, all of us on Dragnet are proud to be associated with Chesterfield because, believe me, Chesterfield is years ahead of all cigarettes. You just can't beat a cigarette that was good to begin with and keeps getting better all the time. But, of course, you can't find out how much you'll like them till you try them. So that's what we'd like you to do. Get a carton of Chesterfields, regular or king size. That's all it takes. I know you'll agree that Chesterfield is best for you.
Margaret Alice Becker was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. She was sentenced to life imprisonment in the California Institute for Women, Corona, California. Further investigation proved that the suspect's father, John Samuel Woodbridge, was not implicated in the murder. He was not held. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Rodman, Helen Cleve, Ralph Moody. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield's. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield's much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork-tipped Fatima? It's the smooth smoke. Here's why. New Fatima tips of perfect cork, king size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima has the tip for your lips. Try new Fatima. See how smooth it is. Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.